I'd like to call this Fernley City Council meeting to order, May 21st, 2025. I want to thank everybody for being here. This is a very important meeting tonight as we discuss some important issues as far as the budget goes. I've asked Councilman Lau to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Lau. If anybody needs hearing devices, please come up to the front and Sandy has some, she'll be able to hook you up there. To avoid meeting disruption, please place your cell phones in the silent mode or turn them off during the meeting. All meetings are recorded. When addressing council, please sign in, state your name, and speak clearly into the microphone. Line item 1, introductory items. We will move on to line up. We did the pledge. We'll move on to 1.2 roll call. Ward 1, Councilman Hand is present. Ward 2, Councilwoman Zaberski is present. Ward 3, Councilman Lau is present. Ward 4, Councilman Torres is present. And Ward 5, Councilman Mendoza is present. 1.3 public forum. This is a portion of the meeting devoted to the public. The public may comment on any matter that is not specifically included on the agenda as an action item. Items not included on this agenda cannot be acted upon other than to place them on a future agenda. If you wish to comment, you can do so in person at the meeting or raise your hand feature Zoom, *9 if you're participating via phone. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please avoid repetition. The mayor may, at his discretion, hold comment until the second public forum at the end of the meeting. Public comments submitted prior to 4 p.m. the day of the meeting will be provided to City Council and added to the record, but will not be read during live meeting. Any public input received after 4 p.m. the day of the meeting will be included in the record, but may not reach council members before action is taken. In front of each council member, there is a list of public input from companies that could not be here. I think there's 13 of them. That's for you. It's also, if council likes, it could be read into the record. If not, I'll ask right now if there's any public input.
Hi, Becky Howlett for the record. I'm here on behalf of the 4th of July. I wanted to let you know that we have chosen a grand marshal. We had 9 nominations, and out of the 9 nominations, we had a ballot and we chose Councilman Torres as our grand marshal for the 4th of July parade. So yay. That's it.
Okay, I got it. My name is Jisung Kim, Utilities Director of the City of Fernley. Good evening, council members, mayor, and city manager. I came here as a resident of City of Fernley to express my opinion regarding city manager, Mr. Benjamin Marchand. I only can say from my 45 years of experience working for many municipal governments and the federal government, I am 77 years old now. My personal goal is to work for this awesome and wonderful city of Fernley for another 23 years until I became 100 years old. Maybe it can be a world record if I can make it. I've worked for many city councils, mayors, and the city managers before. Working for the elected officials and the city leadership is always challenging. The City of Fernley Utility Department currently has 20 employees total. As a department head myself, I would say most of the employees in the utility department appreciate Mr. Marchant's leadership. Mr. Marchant is a very easy and comfortable guy to approach to bring up any issues, concerns, and recommendations. He always maintains open and honest communications with us. He gives us a clear directions without overstepping his authority onto our field, which make us feel that we are in charge. His management style results in a very effective and productive way of solving issues and moving forward, thus enhancing the public trust. In one word, I want to say that Mr. Marchant is a hell of a manager for us. We don't want to lose him. Thank you.
Good evening, Greg Neff for the record, Mayor, members of City Council. There is a problem that's developing on Nevada Pacific Parkway between Immigrant Way, the traffic circle, and the highway. A lot of people, for lack of a better phrase, are using that as they would an airport runway. They're using it at very high speeds, oftentimes at very loud noises, oftentimes at all hours of the night. It's becoming a real safety hazard. I would like to call on council to consider speed bumps and or other traffic calming measures, as this is a problem that will most likely get worse as Nevada Pacific Parkway continues to grow. I've noted today, as a matter of fact, that there was a group of people on ATVs driving at a high rate of speed between Immigrant Way and the traffic circle. They broke down, as ATVs will, on pavement, and they got stuck in the right lane. It was a safety hazard. They couldn't move. They're simply not obeying the rules of the road. I've noted that Lyon County Sheriff's deputies have parked themselves sometimes on Immigrant Way to try to catch them. I appreciate that, but it's not enough, and they tend to just disregard. I don't even know what the speed limit is. I think it's 35 there. They're clearly going faster than that. I would like council to consider installing speed bumps and or traffic calming measures in that particular area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Jamie Cisneros for the record. This is Roman Cisneros. I'm going to talk to you again about parks, but I'm going to keep it under 3 minutes, promise. Youth sports can help keep kids out of trouble by providing structure, teaching valuable life skills, reducing opportunities for unsupervised time. Summer's coming. We have multiple nonprofit sports leagues and organizations in our community that give a ton of volunteer hours for the youth of our community, usually starting at age 4. I think a couple of them, I think the Boys and Girls Club is 3. We have soccer, cheer, football, baseball, basketball, youth and adult softball, volleyball, wrestling, and maybe others that I've missed. Nonprofit sports often compete for space at the parks due to increasing demand and limited availability of fields and facilities. The nonprofits also compete with other entities such as travel sports leagues and private tournament LLCs for space in the public parks. Some park and recreation departments have policies in place for prioritizing requests such as allocating space to nonprofit organizations who offer programs to the community, especially when offered to those residents who have economic issues. Fernley does not have this policy. We now have a Parks Committee, which was, you were there, we formed. Oh yeah, and Stan, sorry. We now have a Parks Committee so that we can help unite us and work together in the best interests of our growing community. Some want to see programs that can offer revenue, but without community committed programs, and the revenue and the community engagement will just decline. We need more grass or turf, and we need it now. There's already a turf sweeper in the budget, one less expense to have to add to it. Please read the park's master plan and start chipping away at our turf projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public input in the audience? Seeing none? Anybody on Zoom? And nobody on the phone? Okay. We will move on to 1.4, looking for approval of the agenda. Councilman Hannan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
We have a motion by Councilman Hannan, seconded by Councilman Lyle. Please vote. Okay, so for the public, let's do a manual vote. Ward 1,
They said it passed 5-0.
for public record.
I vote yes.
Ward 2, Ward 3,
Yes.
Ward 4,
Yes.
Ward 5.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Councilman Forrest, okay. Did you have a
Motion.
question, Councilman Hannan?
I'm ready to go on. Next item.
Okay. Now on to line item 2, consent agenda, looking for a motion to consent agenda. Councilman Hannan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second that motion?
We have a motion by Councilman Hannan, seconded by Councilman Lau. Please vote. Okay, let's do this for the public record. Ward 1, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Ward 2, Councilwoman Zabriskie.
Yes.
Ward 3, Lau.
Yes.
Ward 4, Torres.
Yes.
Ward 5, Mendoza.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Miss Andy, would you read the business licenses, please?
We have Polyglass USA, a commercial property rentals. Tri-Peak Construction and Design, residential and small commercial contractor. Cruise Down Memory Lane Photography, mobile photography. All Connect Plumbing, plumbing contractor. True Blue Plumbing, plumbing contractor. United Federal Credit Union, bank credit union financial institution. Prestige Home Finance, mortgage broker. Superb Plumbing, plumbing contractor. Forever Photo Booth, excuse me, mobile photo booth. GE Excavating, excavation contractor. Wild Women Crafters, hobby crafter. And Gomez Lab and Plaster contractor.
Okay, thank you. Looking for some paperwork here. Give me a minute. All right, thank you for the business license report. We'll move on to line item 3. Reports this item is for various public entity representative to provide general information to the council. In public, no action will be taken. At this time, I see we have Chief Deputy Branningham.
Chief Deputy Mitch Branningham, Lyon County Sheriff's Office. Good evening, council. Mr. Mayor, City Manager, thank you guys for having me. Lots of stuff going on with the Sheriff's Office. As always, I'll do my best to be brief and then try and answer some questions if I can. There was just a gentleman up here talking about Nevada Pacific in that area, kind of around Immigrant a minute ago. I'm not sure if he was still here. I was kind of trying to take a look around. I do have Sergeant Santos, who runs our STET team, here with me tonight, and he's taking some notes so we could get out and do some more enforcement out there. That area that he's talking about, he said 35-mile-an-hour zone. It is a 25-mile-per-hour zone already. And we have been out doing some enforcement. Sergeant Santos was just out there yesterday. I ended up pulling the kid off a motorcycle and writing some citations and stuff like that. But that area is always a traffic problem for us, even when we're out doing enforcement. I had the opportunity to come down and participate in mock courtroom trials here last week with some elementary school kids. It was a really nice event, was well put together by the city, and I appreciate you guys hosting us and inviting us to come down and participate in that event. Seemed like we got a lot of good feedback from the kids and citizens around town, stuff following that. And city attorney's office and the judge did a really nice job with that, so we appreciate that. We've been getting a ton of complaints regarding homeless camps and homeless people popping up around town. We've been chasing them all over the place. I know Ms. Burkle and her team have been out doing a ton of work on that also. We are talking about putting together some sort of a joint operation, kind of as the weather's warming up here, to get out and issue some citations and take some more aggressive enforcement action on that and see if we can get that finally cleaned up and get out of the fallout from breaking up the veteran cemetery camp over there. But it's still an ongoing process. So if people do have complaints about there, people are seeing that stuff pop up, they can reach out to us. We'd be happy to get out and keep working on those things. We have made a ton of progress on it. I was just at the veteran cemetery today. It still looks very nice and cleaned up. And now we got to do the work on kind of the rest of the area around that. As the summertime comes kind of to a start here and school is ending, I get a lot of questions about what happens with our school resource officers. So a couple things happens with them, one of which is most of our SROs do a pretty nice job of trying to be at the schools when school's in session. So most of them save their vacation time and things like that. So we'll see them do some of those things, catch up on national trends, go to training, do some of that participation in the career development part. And then in between those times, we rotate them back into the patrol shifts. But they're not going to actually be out picking up shifts. They're going to be out doing some extra saturation work, doing some traffic enforcement. We have pretty good staffing here in the city as far as our actual shifts go. So we're going to try and supplement during peak times and target some of the problems that we're having around the city and utilize our SROs to do that. So if there's any specific requests that anybody has regarding those things, they can reach out to me and we can try and get somebody oriented to those specific projects, and traffic enforcement being the main one of them during the summertime. I have been working with Sergeant Kosak, who was here a couple meetings ago, for the last few weeks of school here. We are putting together a traffic safety plan for our school zones. School zone traffic is always a complaint that we're receiving. We do go out and do a ton of enforcement and issue a bunch of citations on that. We're going to try and target that specifically here in the last couple weeks of school. And we're going to have deputies specifically assigned to different school zones and kind of rotating through those to increase that traffic enforcement and make sure we go into the summer on the safest note we can, and that we don't have any incidents in our school zones here in the last couple weeks of school. And then over the course of the summer, Sergeant Kozak's been tasked with putting together a more comprehensive plan and getting that rolled out for the start of school also. So I do hear the complaints about particularly Cottonwood, and we are out doing enforcement on it, but we are working to beef that stuff up right now. And then the last thing that I had is the music murals and margaritas from this weekend. We had no major complaints or major incidents occurring at that event. It went off as smoothly as it always does. We've never really had any issues with that event. I think some of the weather over the weekend, the big storm that came through and dust and things like that helped keep people down a little bit. And aside from the softball parade that kind of went on there in the evening. It was a pretty quiet status quo event for us. So that being said, I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
All right, thank you for that report. Do we have any? Okay, Councilman Hannan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's always good to see you, Chief Deputy. I just want to thank you guys for all your hard work. You guys always come to the rescue for Fernley. We have a great relationship with you. We couldn't be happier. I know Sergeant Santos, and if only your boss could see how good of a job you were doing. Oh, I think he's over there in the corner, Sheriff Pope. So we appreciate all you guys. You do a heck of a job, and it makes a big difference. All my constituents tell me night and day between what we had and what we have now. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
And so, I will put into the record, and every council person up here got a copy of, this email that I received from, Chief Brian Munn from Lyon County Fire Protection. And I just wanted to read, a little bit of what he wrote in here. And this is strictly from him. And it says, "Let me be clear. North Line Fire is not broke, and we are financially stable, but underfunded relative to the service demands." So kudos to the new chief for bringing this along. And I appreciate his email. And I just wanted to make sure that all council got one of the got this email, and I will make sure that that gets put into the record. So having said that, we will now move on to, because I don't see any fireman chief out here. Okay, we will now move on to staff. City Manager Ben Marchand.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Just wanted to give some dates that this Saturday, the Northern Nevada Veterans Coalition is looking for volunteers at 8:30 a.m. to help with the Flag In Day in preparation for the Memorial Day event at the Nevada Veterans Cemetery. This will be followed on Monday with the May 26th Memorial Day event beginning at 11 a.m. at the Northern Nevada Veterans Cemetery at 14 Veterans Way. For more information, go to supportnnvc.org. And on Memorial Day, May 26th, City Hall will be closed in observance of that holiday. I do not have anything else to report. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, Deputy City Manager Lydia Altek.
Good afternoon, good evening. Lydia Altic, Deputy City Manager. So on May 10th, we had our first annual Business Expo, and it was a great success. There were 39 businesses, community groups, organizations, and the event was organized by our Development Coordinator, Jessica Murdoch, and was co-sponsored by EDON. So that's Economic Development Association of Western Nevada, and the Fernley Chamber of Commerce. There were, as I said, 39 local businesses. We actually did a survey of all, and we had 13 responses. And I'm just going to give you a summary of the responses. That the event was well organized and well attended with a great variety of friendly vendors and participating businesses. The outdoor layout offered plenty of space for networking and easy movement between tables. Attendees appreciated connecting with others, sharing information about their organizations, and exploring career and business opportunities. Highlights included the many city staff that showed up, department heads and other staff there to answer questions, food trucks, clear instructions, and meaningful community engagement, such as donating to families in need and interacting with groups like the Chamber and the 4th of July Committee. So there is a copy of the summary in the back for anyone that wants one. And I also have a full copy for each council member, which I will distribute.
All right,
And
thank you.
the other announcement I have
go ahead.
is right now on our website, we have an updated announcement and a virtual public meeting for the Nevada Pacific Parkway Extension Raise Grant. And there's just a few updates to the project, but this is an opportunity for you to look at those updates and to provide comments if you have any. So if you go to our city's website and look at city projects, you'll see the Raise Grant project, and you can view the virtual public meeting. Comment periods end May 29th. So I hope you all take a look at that. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Any other staff reports? I can't see Barry. He's hiding over there. Oh, there he is. Hi, Barry. All right, so we'll move on to council. We'll start with Councilman Mendoza.
Nothing to report.
Councilman Torres.
I'd like to echo the deputy city manager. The business expo was excellent. Jessica Murdoch did an amazing job on putting that together. Thank you to all the staff as well as everybody from the community and the businesses. I did talk to Taylor Adams from EDON, and he was very pleased with it as well. SCAC was out there, Fernley Senior Citizens Advisory Committee, on our fan drive for seniors, and I want to thank all of them as well as Mr. Cason, who is our liaison with the city and the seniors. Also, the FCTA, Fernley Convention and Tourism Authority, is now accepting grant applications for fiscal year 25-26 round 1. Applications will be accepted until May 30th at 5 p.m. This round is for events that take place from July 1st of 2025 through December 31st of 2025. All applications must be submitted by 5 p.m. on Friday, May 30th. The FCTA board will review the grant applications and make grant selections during the June 9th FCTA board meeting, which starts at 6 p.m. For those of you who may have applied in the past, we no longer have the mandatory applicant meeting. However, if it is your first time submitting a grant application to the FCTA, you are strongly encouraged to contact the city manager's office prior to submittal. And there's detailed information is posted to the Fernley website as well as Facebook. And any questions, please call 775-784-9858. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman Torres. Councilman Lau?
I have
Councilwoman Zaberski?
First, I guess I'll apologize to our sheriffs because I was able to be a part of that crowd on Main Street and it was amazing. I'm pretty emotional about our youth sports, so I just had sparklers and tears, but it was so nice to welcome those girls home, and the fire department participated, kind of escorting them to the high school. So it was a really amazing experience. So congratulations to our high school varsity softball girls for winning state. It's pretty impressive that, I mean, it seems pretty common now that we're reporting on our youth athletes going to state or bringing home championships. And I feel like it's just huge. It's something so nice to be a part of and to be proud of. So I'm really excited for them. Hopefully I can get with Becky and we can do something special for them during the parade or as a city council just to congratulate them. The murals and margaritas was amazing. We did get sandblasted a solid amount and people were shaking, holding down their easy ups for a minute, but 45 minutes later, the sun came out and it, again, was just super impressive to see such a large stage on not a super main street in Fernley and how successful the event is. So congratulations to the Aces for that as well.
All right, thank you. Councilman Hannan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As always, I want to acknowledge last night I had the pleasure of visiting All Points Bar and Grill in Fernley. It's a new establishment in the old Pizza Shack, 790 East Main Street. Great food. Had a good time last night, and I always encourage folks to go. You live local, support local. Now's a great time of year. It's my favorite time of year to get out and hike. And so there are so many outdoor activities. Just want to encourage everyone to go out. Everything looks so beautiful now. It's green. We had a little fire here yesterday that kind of ruined the day, but now's a great time to get out and to be in Fernley, get out and explore Nevada. Northern Nevada has so much to offer, and we're so lucky to live here, to live, work, and play in Fernley. This is a great place. So great things are happening in Fernley. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So now I will give my report. You had your turn. So we will, let me give my report. So I want to take responsibility for this, of the action that has been displayed up here by council. We have been very unprofessional and I think we need to be a little bit more respectful by saying that this isn't the first time this happened. So what I'd like to see is, please, if we could be more professional, more respectful of the person that has the floor. And if you want to speak, I have this little camera in front of me that shows me who's speaking and who wants to speak now. So I'll be able to tell who is going to speak next. So if you would, please let the council people or myself or whoever has the floor, let them finish speaking before interrupting and making comment. And I will make sure that you get your turn to address whatever the issue is. So I really appreciate that. Councilman Lau, go ahead.
Yes, I would like to make an apology to Councilman Albert Torres. We've worked hard up here, and last meeting, I got a little excited, and I want to apologize to Albert Torres and the council and the people for getting so excited on it. Sorry,
Well-
Albert.
Well, from us, apologies accepted from us. And Councilman Lau, I guess that just happens when you're so passionate about what happens here at the city of Fernley, and I appreciate your passion for the city. Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. So do we have, is Mindy, our state legislator,
Mr. Mayor.
is she on board? Oh, yes, go ahead, Mr. Marchant.
I received a text from Ms. Elliott. She is at the Senate Finance Committee meeting this evening and is unable to join us. She'll give us an update next time.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so we will now move on to line item 4, proclamations by the mayor. I do have 3 proclamations. Got a lot of paper sitting in front of me tonight. So the first proclamation is Mental Health Awareness Month. And it says, the Office of the Mayor, City of Fernley, Nevada, proclamation, whereas mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and addressing the mental health needs of Fernley, of children, youth, adults, seniors, and families is fundamental to having a healthy community. And whereas all people experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives, and with their prevalence of mental health conditions in our nation, it is important for all members of the community to know the specific tools exist which can be used to better handle challenges and protect one's health and well-being. And whereas prevention is an effective way to reduce the burden of mental health conditions, and with early and effective treatment, individuals with mental health conditions can recover and lead full, productive lives. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the importance of improving mental health, all the residents of Fernley is committed to raising awareness about mental health, promoting effective community partnership and collaboration to serve mental health needs of our community, and increasing access to culturally and verbally appropriate mental health services. Now, therefore, I, Neil E. McIntyre, Mayor of the City of Fernley, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2025 as Mental Health Awareness Month and encourage all citizens, businesses, organizations, and agencies to work collaboratively to reduce the stigma of mental health illness and to increase the mental health of our community. And I don't know, is there anybody here to accept this award?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is Laura Yanez, and she is the Executive Director for NAMI Western Nevada, which covers 13 of the 17 counties. We have all the rurals, either to support mental health or as sole providers for those 13 counties.
So the next one I have is Art Week. Wow, we have an artist up here on this council. Mr. Bursky is an artist. So Office of the Mayor, City of Fernley, Nevada, proclamation. Whereas the City of Fernley recognizes the importance of art in enriching the culture, educational, and economic life of our community, and whereas the City of Fernley celebrates the creativity, talent, artistic contributions of local artists and organizations, which enhances the vibrancy of our city and fosters a sense of pride and unity. And whereas from May 9th through May 17th, 2025, the City of Fernley celebrated Art Week, a series of art-related events organized by local businesses and cultured by the Fernley Aces, accumulating in the Music, Murals, and Margaritas Festival. And whereas Art Week provided a platform for local artists to showcase their work, engage the community in the appreciation of art, and created opportunities for cultural exchange and community engagement. And whereas Art Week reflects the spirit of collaboration, creativity, and the community pride that makes Fernley a unique and thriving place to live and to visit. Now, therefore, I, Neil E. McIntyre, Mayor of City of Fernley, do hereby proclaim the week of May 9th through May 17th, 2025 as Art Week in Fernley and urge all residents to participate and support the arts throughout the exciting week of creativity and celebration. So, was Dana here? Who's gonna, well, Dana's not here, so what I'd like to do is present this to our councilwoman. I'm sorry, Ms. Oberski.
Can I say something real fast, Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
I am an artist, but I make money as being an artist, and the ACEs that really put together this event are all volunteers. They don't make any kind of money off of the festival, so I will make sure that this gets to them. I think they are really who should be recognized for this week, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. The next one is National Public Works Week. Public Works professional focus on infrastructure facilities and services that are vital importance to sustain a resilient community to the public health, quality of life, and well-being of the people of Fernley. And whereas these infrastructure facilities and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public work professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees of all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Fernley to gain knowledge and of maintenance on ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their communities. And whereas the year 2025 marks the 65th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by American Public Works Association. Now, therefore, I, Neil E. McIntyre, Mayor, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby designate the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens and government agencies to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees to recognize the substantial contributions that they make in protecting our national health, safety, and advancing quality of life for all. Neil E. McIntyre, Mayor. Dana, could I have you come forward? I want to present you with this proclamation that I read, but you weren't here yet. And then also Mr. Williams.
That's your best look.
I like that shirt. That's a good shirt.
Okay. Councilman Hannon, did you have a question?
I do, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. In regards to 5.1, can we back up for a second? Can you take us back to 5.1 for 1 second? I have a question regarding, I thought
Well, when I get to 5.1, you can make this was proclamations by the mayor. This was.
I thought we
Four.
asked if the union person was here and they're not. Are we skipping it? Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that. My
Aaron
mistake.
Mortson, City Attorney. The union is present.
My mistake. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to line item 5, staff reports. 5.1, discussion possible action to make a determination pursuant to step 4 of the grievance process regarding grievance number 01-25 filed by IBEW 1245 pertaining to the CBA violation requirement to negotiate new classifications. Is somebody here from the union, or what are we doing here?
So, Aaron Mortson, City Attorney. Just very briefly, you have in your packet a copy of the grievance as well as the grievance submission. The union is present as well as City Manager Ben Marchant. I don't think anyone had a plan to do a presentation today, but all parties are present to take any questions from you before making a determination.
Councilman Mendoza.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Mendoza. I just want to, I do have some questions. So if we could have the representative step up, I'd appreciate that. I also want to disclose that I'm a small business owner here in town doing electrical work, and I do hire IBEW members as my employees. And I'm also a card carrying member for IBEW 401. So if there's anything that will be voted on tonight, I will abstain from that vote simply because I am a member of the IBEW. But I do want to ask, we're at grievance 4. Typically when we have grievances, grievances are set up and the procedure for grievances are set up for us to come to a conclusion before going to arbitration. And that's our avenue for the city. It's your avenue as a local for representing your employees to utilize so that we could come to the table and have conversations. What I would like to know is how did we get to step 4, and why are we here at a level 4 grievance procedure, and why did we skip 3 steps already? We didn't skip 3 steps, but why are we at level 4? And that question is for both the city manager as well as the IBEW members.
I'm happy to respond to that, Councilman Mendoza. Ben Marchant, City Manager, for the record. This is a unique sort of grievance in that there is no city employee or member of the union that was affected in order to initiate step 1 or step 2 of the grievance. This is arising out of the creation of new positions that were approved by the City Council in February. The union was then given notice of these new job descriptions with their pay scales. And when we met and conferred with the union in my office and HR on March 20th, they did raise concerns that they felt that these should have been discussed with them previously, and they raised concerns about whether they questioned the appropriateness of the pay scale that was attached to each of the positions. And at that time, they did express a preference to increase the pay scales for the electrician position, and the other position seemed to be acceptable at that time. And later, when the grievance was filed, it only made sense that it would come straight to the city manager at step 3, since there were no employee or department head level grievances to be heard. And so I took the grievance, I reviewed it against the collective bargaining agreement, and my letter in response to their grievance explaining the city's position as I see it, was sent to them denying the grievance. And the next step is for them to appeal to the city council, and that is why we're here this evening.
Okay, thank you for that. Prior to sending the letter denying the step 3 grievance procedure, did you consult our city attorney in regards to the CBA and the language and get an interpretation from our city attorney?
Yes.
Okay. And my next question would be to you, what was your interpretation?
So Aaron Mortson, the city attorney, we did actually reach out to our union attorney on this as well. I'm not going to go into specific details of that as it's attorney-client privilege.
Aren't we the client?
In this case, the discussion was between Mr. Crosby and Mr. Marchant, and so I don't want to go into that interference between the city manager and Mr. Crosby.
Would it be appropriate to have a legal brief if they would like to take a recess?
Aaron Mortson, city attorney, I'd be fine if we want to take a recess and have that in a legal brief.
Yeah, I'm okay with the recess for now. I'd like to hear a response in regards to why was the grievance submitted and what are you guys looking for out of level 4 and where we're at?
For the record, Dylan Gottfried, Senior Assistant Business Manager, Local 1245. Essentially, we allege that we never did negotiate it over this new classification, which is what we claim is a violation. And we want to, requested remedy is that we sit down and agree upon the classification and the wage range and job duties. That was not done.
And what article of the contract was violated?
It's 14.
Article 14?
Yep.
Okay. I will request a recess for a legal brief so we could continue this, please.
Okay, we'll have a recess. All right, I'll call this meeting back to order. So as of right now, Councilman Mendoza has the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. After our legal brief, I will not say I agree or disagree with the grievance or the violation of the article. But what I would like the council to consider tonight is actually going to the table and talking to these guys. Do you guys have any comparables for those positions that were created?
Absolutely.
Do you have a percentage of difference from the comparables in regards to what the wages we established when the council voted on that to what is comparable within the region?
For the record, Business Rep Marty Cumley, thank you for allowing us to be here today, Council, Mr. Mayor. I don't have the exact percentage, Mr. Councilman Mendoza, but I do, the comparables that I brought forth were a vast majority of what the union represents, and then also a handful of what other non-unions represent as well. So it was quite a difference in our eyes, and that's why we wanted to bring this forward into the process to meet with Mr. Ben Marchant on the 20th.
Okay. Now, just let's throw some numbers out there. Is it a $5 difference, a $10 difference? Give me the lowest one, $20 difference.
The lowest I believe was a
If you would, for the
$8.
record, when you re-speak, if you could
Your name.
state your name, please.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Yes, Business Rep Marty Cumley for IBW 1245. Off the top of my head, I believe the lowest was an $8 difference.
So we could safely say $8 plus difference from where we're starting our qualified individuals for those trade positions.
IBW 1245 Marty Cumley. Yes, Councilman, that is just a rough estimate. I'd have to go
I
through my
agree with
paperwork
that.
for the.
No, I understand. It's a rough estimate. And the reason why I ask is because we do have an issue with retention. And if we're going to hire people that could get paid more somewhere else, they're just going to use the city as a place to get some experience and then go to another municipality and make more money. And then we're here training and retraining and making or spending more money. So in the long run, I think if we were to give our employees the ability to have their positions represented, because there are other trades within the city that are represented by 1245.
Bless.
I think it would not only show good faith to our employees that were just hired, that we want to invest in them and we want them to work and live in Fernley, but also in good faith with the partnership that we have with 1245. Names.
IBW Representative Marty Cumley, that is correct. And also some of the concerns we brought forth on the 20th was the job description, specifically safety as well. This new department that they're putting in also deals with a lot of the water treatment side and also requires different certifications, different voltages and things of that nature that we felt were inadequate at the time of what we received from the city.
Okay. So we're talking wages and safety. So like I said, I'm a 12, not a 1245, but I'm an IBW member. And I also received a donation from 1245 through my partnership as an IBW member for over 17 years. I work around the region and know a lot of people, so I will be abstaining from this vote. But I urge the city council to ask questions. And I personally would like to see this just instead of going to arbitration. I know there's some timelines. I would hope that our council could, agree to meet with you guys soon. Assign somebody to just kind of go over and look at this before we go any further and go straight to arbitration. Because whether we agree with the violation of the contract or not, they still have the ability to take us to litigation through arbitration. So I would like to just sit down and have one of you guys sit down with them to discuss the safety concerns that they have and the wage concerns that they have for the members we just employed. Thank you, guys.
Councilman Torres.
So I guess the next question with that information is, are you guys, the union, open and willing to sit down with city staff, with the city manager and the city attorney and one of the council people up here and go over your wants and your concerns in order to come to some compromise, if we can find a compromise?
For the record, Dylan Gottfried, Senior Assistant Business Manager. Absolutely, yes, we would be able to do that. And understanding that, through what we would consider negotiating a fair and amicable solution, yes, absolutely.
Okay. And I'm sure that the last thing that the city wants to do is, go to arbitration. So I don't know if there's any other questions by council, but that I'll make a motion when you're done.
We have Councilwoman Zaberski.
Not a question. I just have a disclosure that my husband is also a part of the IBU 1245. It's not going to affect my vote in this decision, but just for disclosure, he's also a part of this union.
Councilman Hannan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question is for our HR Director, Ms. Carter. Do we have good evening, ma'am. Do we have an employee retention problem?
Good evening, Mitzi Carter, HR Director or HR Manager, excuse me, for City of Fernley. The retention problem has decreased significantly since the comp plan came into place. With this new position, we didn't see the wage discrimination that the union is presenting. With the wages that they presented were more in line with Nevada NB Energy and more public-owned entities versus the municipalities.
Okay, and if someone is a union member or someone's not a union member, is there a difference in the safety protocol for those positions? So if I'm an electrician, I'm a union member, I'm an electrician, I'm not a union member. Is there a safety protocol difference between those two that would have an impact on the individual?
Absolutely not. We take safety very high in value, and regardless of their affiliation with the member or with the union or not, that's our utmost important, is to make sure all of our members are safe.
Thank you. I have a question for Mr. Mortensen, our attorney. Mr. Mortensen, good evening. My understanding is that the requirement to negotiate is for an existing position that is a change in the position. It doesn't have anything to do, or it doesn't encompass creation of a new position in this capacity. Am I correct, or am I misinformed?
Aaron Morrison, City Attorney, I can read that a specific section that I think is relevant in section 14. Give me one moment to pull that up. I'm looking at paragraph 3 of the scope of the agreement. It says, notwithstanding any other provision of this agreement, the city will notify the union of the creation of any new job class, which is A, currently occupied by an employee in the bargaining unit, or B, a reclassification of an existing job class, which is in the bargaining unit.
In your opinion, sir, does this job classify as either of those two that you mentioned?
Aaron Morrison, City Attorney, if we have another legal brief, I can give you my opinion, but I'm not going to discuss confidentiality in those issues here.
I didn't hear anything about an existing position, creating a new position. They were all rather regarding existing positions. Is that correct?
In regards to Aaron Morrison, City Attorney, in regards to this, there's the currently occupied by an employee of the bargaining unit, or the reclassification of existing job class, and this is neither of those things.
Okay, so then I guess I have another question. My question is, if we start to negotiate with a union on positions that we're not contracted to negotiate, where does that begin and end? Do we do this for all positions now that the union disagrees with us when we have a contract that specifically says this is not negotiable, or do we not? I mean, it seems like we're opening a Pandora's box it clearly says an existing position, not creation of a new one. And there's been some conversation about safety, which I think is more or less a scare tactic. And I just like to look at the facts. The facts, it's a new job, it's newly created. It doesn't appear to me that it's something negotiable. So if we do negotiate this, are we opening up a Pandora's box to negotiate other positions that we create that are not specified in that contract?
Aaron Morrison, City Attorney, I think that extends kind of beyond a legal question, and I think that's ultimately a question for council to answer.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Zaberski, then Councilman Mendoza. And then
Not
Councilman-
necessarily a question. Sorry. You can finish. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
You're good. Go ahead.
I think that in any light, this probably could have been resolved with open communication with the union because I think we can break down that contract and how those two new positions are not classified as new positions. And I, for one, as a council member, would hope to maintain a good sturdy relationship with the union. And so without tearing our collective bargaining contract apart, I think that I would also prefer to settle it outside of this with open communication about any new classifications that come up that would be, you know, trade type jobs or something that the union would be a part of. So thank you.
Councilman Mendoza.
Yeah, Councilman Mendoza. I could understand where Councilman Ryan Hannon is coming from, but I don't believe it to be a scare tactic to put safety as a priority. I myself, before I was even on this council, had concerns with safety within our city. There was pictures posted of unsafe acts that are being done, and was curious if OSHA was going to pick those things up. So even though we have people who say that safety is important, which I don't think there's nobody that here believes that safety is not important, there could be some parameters inside that not only protect the employee, but protect the city from the employee making bad decisions. And so if we have somebody that's willing to share safety concerns with us, I wouldn't come and call that out publicly as a scare tactic, because there is some concerns out there. I have personally seen it, and it was published on social media, and I was beside myself that was even posted on there because I know what OSHA standards are, and there was OSHA standards violated. That's all I got to say about that.
Councilman Torres.
So reading the contract and during our legal brief, I understand what the letter of the law says with the contract. But let's say we hire these, let's say we don't work it out between now and hiring. And we hire somebody and we come up for the first negotiation, and this is going to be the number one topic that the union brings up is fixing this. So I would like to get out in front of it and fix it before we do any hiring. And it's not pointing blame at anybody. It's just coming to the table and fixing something. Because whether you come and you negotiate it beforehand or you wait until afterhand, every position that's already under the CBA that you guys are the union for is already going to come before negotiations again at some time anyways. So this just is kind of handling the problem before it's a bigger problem. And I think it's good faith effort on both parties. And again, it's not finger pointing. It's just fixing it before we hire somebody and everybody's on the same page, and then we move on.
I guess my question is did we not already hire a person in this position?
Mr. Mayor, Ben Marchant, City Manager, for the record. At least two positions that were the subject of the letter to the City Council, which would be the electrician and the SCADA specialist, have both been advertised, interviewed, and filled. I would suggest that any outcome of either proceeding, either a negotiation or a arbitrated settlement, would be retroactive to their date of hire so that they would be made whole.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Councilman Mendoza.
If, you know, I don't mind doing the retroactive stuff. But if we were able to come to an agreement, would you guys be willing to waive the retroactive payments just to get us on track? I think that would probably be a negotiation thing, so I'm sorry. I retract my question.
I think that would be, like you were saying, a discussion with the negotiations. Councilman Torres.
I make a motion to have IBEW and the city of Fernley put together their negotiating team and work this out before going to arbitration. And let's fix the problems before they become a problem. So that's my motion.
Second that motion.
We have a motion by Councilman Torres, seconded by Councilman Lau. Please vote.
Mayor, the results are not showing on the screen, but they've come up 3 yes, 1 no, 1 abstained.
Ward 1, how do you vote?
Mr. Mayor, I vote no.
Ward 2, Councilwoman Zaborski.
I vote yes.
Ward 3, Councilman Lau.
Yes.
Ward 4, Councilman Torres.
Yes.
And Ward 5, Councilman Mendoza abstained from
I
the
abstain.
motion carries 3-1. Thank you, gentlemen. I guess we'll have to set up a time and we need to discuss I guess who's going to be on this committee, Mr. Mortensen?
Aaron Morrison, city attorney, that'll be handled by the city manager and HR. And we'll make sure to coordinate with the union on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
We'll now move on to light item 5.2 for possible action, discussion to create a committee between the City Council, Community Foundation, the Boys and Girls Club regarding a future, future lease of the Community Response Resource Center, CRRC. And this was brought up by Councilwoman Zaborski, so I'll let her take it from here.
I guess this this agenda item is pretty much just as it reads. Is I'd like to create a committee between the CRRC, Community Foundation, Boys and Girls Club, and us as a council. I think really it would be helpful that we have kind of a rotating city liaison on this committee. So it would be a different council member every month or every 2 months, however we decide to do those meetings. So that every council member is brought into what's going on with CRRC, what's going on with the lease, with the Boys and Girls Club, what's going on with future development of parks or gymnasiums. And just being able to have a council member present and involved, which hasn't always been the past.
Okay, so do you want to set that up as far as who you want from the City Council at the first meeting and who you want from the Community Foundation, who you want from the Boys and Girls Club, and the time and date to have this this meeting?
Yes, I'm happy to get
Okay.
with staff and
Okay.
get all of those names together so that I can form a committee and then get started from there.
Okay, that'd be awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
She have to motion and we have to vote on that.
Yeah, so I guess we need to
I can-
you want to make a motion
Yeah.
to, okay.
So I move to approve creating a committee between the City Council, Community Foundation, the Boys and Girls Club regarding the future lease of the Community Resource and Response Center. But I would also like that agenda item to also be not just about the future lease of the Community Resource and Response Center, but also the next phases as far as development goes, fundraising, and future development all around.
I'll second
I'll
that.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilwoman Zaborski, seconded by Councilman Torres. Please vote. And see how that's not working. Ward 1, Councilman Hannon.
I vote yes.
Ward 2, Councilwoman Zaborski.
I vote yes.
Ward 3, Councilman Lau.
Yes.
Ward 4, Councilman Torres. I guess you're a yes,
Yes.
because you seconded it. And Ward 5, Councilman Mendoza.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 5.3 is for possible action discussion to confirm the date of waste management survey completion and to bring back results of the survey conducted to determine the best options selected by our citizens. The survey should include both residential and business options. And also in the record, George Peak with ERK George Peak and Greg Peak did send in a email that's going to be read, that's going to be put into the record, disagreeing with this. So anyways, let's see, do we have anybody that's going to present or anything?
Yeah, waste management's here.
Kim Fleming with Waste Management. Good afternoon, Mayor McIntyre, Councilman, Councilwoman, and City Manager. Thank you so much for having us. I'm here to answer any questions. We've provided a draft of where we're at for the residents. If we are interested in business options and a survey for that, the idea was they would be separate, but we're open to your thoughts. So I'm here to answer any questions. Just an update, if we have a finalized draft or a final version of this by May 31st or June 1st. We'll be able to send out a survey that will go in the bill insert that's sent out to all residents July, the beginning of July. So just a heads up on timeline for that.
Councilman Torres.
Call Mendoza or Torres, sir? Mendoza. Okay. I wasn't sure what you said. Sorry. So I guess I had a couple of questions. I read the survey and I think it has a lot of great information. I just want to confirm also with legal that so the residential contract would be the primary goal on this time around because the commercial contract is an entity of itself, correct?
There is no existing current, Kim Fleming Waste Management. There is no current existing commercial contract. So the only contract in place, at least with WM, is currently residential. Yes.
Okay. So our builders and our industry and our commercial people here in town, they can pick and choose who they want to use right now.
Current Kim Fleming Waste Management. Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And I would prefer that we allow that to continue because we have a lot of different wants and needs by our commercial group. And I don't want to change that for them. I want to give them the freedom of being able to pick. So as far as the residential, so that's what this would cover. And this contract, the current contract that we have with Waste Management ends in 26?
2028. Kim Fleming, WM 2028.
Okay.
Or even very beginning of 2029. Apologies.
Okay. So I think one of my biggest concerns was I like the different options that you have on the survey and that were presented to the council. I, for one, think that a decade-long contract is way too long for my comfort level. And I say that for a couple of reasons. One, I don't want to lock us into something that's for a decade. Two, I don't mind making some decisions that are going to affect future council and future mayors, but I don't want to lock them into a service contract for a decade because there may be a lot of things that change between now and 10 years. Well, actually, it's going to be 13 years down the road to where I want to allow that council and the citizens at that time and staff to make that decision for themselves. So I think that the contract should be shorter. And then I know that we have to go to bid on this too.
Not necessarily, at least that's my understanding. Kim Fleming, WM, not necessarily, but that is certainly something that can be discussed. And also the term, the contract term, also up for discussion. Nothing is set in stone. We're simply here to provide options. And so the current option we provided with that 10-year beyond the current term. That allowed for the cost savings per customer per month. But if we shorten that time length and add whatever other services the community may want, that simply will just change the potential cost savings per customer.
Okay.
So
And I think it's good business I think it's good business not only for the city, but especially for our residents that we do put it out to bid. And
Aaron
allow,
Oh, you can finish your comment. I just want to say that this is a franchise. It does not require any money being spent by the city. So it's on a purchasing contract and does not require bid. We can choose to go out to bid, but we're not required to.
okay. No, thank you, sir. I just think it's a good idea to allow our residents to have input on what the final decision is on what they're going to spend their money on. So I think it needs to go to bid. I think 10 years is too long. I got a lot of positive feedbacks as far as the service that you guys are providing to residential. So those are my ideas with going forward. But I do like this survey and just keeping this item as residential and allow the commercial to continue to be at the will of the business owner. Thank you.
Councilwoman Zaborski, then Councilman Hannan.
Does Waste Management send out surveys just on their own? Or did you have to come to the city and ask if you're allowed to send out a survey? Or is because we asked for you to do a survey so that we could let our constituents decide what was going to be best? And now this agenda item is asking, are we okay to send out the survey? I guess I just need a little clarification as far as the agenda item goes.
Kim Fleming, WM. Good question. So yes, WM does send out surveys, but typically in our typical day-to-day fashion, we send out surveys once a customer has contacted us either for a replaced can, customer complaint, a customer need. We'll then send out a survey about their experience with WM. But this is unique in that we are sending out a proactive survey to all of the residences. And so we were seeking just direction from council just to make sure that we're aligned and we're on the same page in what we're asking of the residents.
Is it going to pop up on the website for people that have paperless billing?
So that was for the billing Kim Fleming, WM, for the billing insert. That's why I think that would be an ideal format for us to send out. So for those that either receive paperless, that's a format in which we already have going out to residents. And so we thought that would be an ideal format for it to go out.
In paper, but not
It could be
paperless.
both. It could be both.
Okay.
Mhm.
The only other comment that I had was really just about Waste Management conducting their own survey because I agree with some comment that we had about maybe using a third party to come up with the questions as far as services go for waste products in Fernley. It's hard to I mean, you guys are conducting your own survey, so I'm sure those. Not anything negative, but you're going to come up with the questions and survey is going to be that way. So I think just for future reference, it will always be better for me if there's a third party conducting the survey and not the company themselves.
Kim Fleming, WM, I 100% hear what you're saying, and we certainly can. In this format, we were asked to put together the survey, and so we simply move forward with that. We wanted to share with you the draft so that if there's any changes that were needed or variation in language, we were happy to change that. But if the council would like us to proceed in moving forward with the survey with a third party instead, we're more than happy to accommodate that as well.
I think just for future reference, I know that this is what council requested, so I don't want to switch things up on you, but I'm just thinking as far as future negotiations and contracts, surveys. Thank you.
Councilman Hannan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a question for our legal team again, Mr. Mortensen. Our contract expires with franchise agreement with Waste Management expires in 2020.
I believe it's
right.
Okay.
Somewhere very close.
I think your mic shut off there.
I believe, and I don't have that right in front of me, but I believe it's very early in January 2029, the first or second week of January 2029.
And when I review the franchise agreement, my understanding is that we can't put this service out to bid until the 6 months to the expiration of that contract. Is that correct?
No, we can. Oh, sorry. Aaron Mortson, city attorney. And I'll allow city manager to reach in as well. We're not required to go out to bid, but we do if we want to terminate the contract. And actually, it won't matter at this point because this is the last little leg of that contract. We would have to give them a 1-year notice.
So so we have to wait. So if we wanted to send it out to bid, we couldn't do it now. We couldn't do it next year. We'd have to wait a year from the 29 date. Is that correct?
We could, Aaron Morrison, City Attorney, we could send it out now. It just wouldn't take effect until January of 2029.
2029. Okay. In regards to the mayor and your email from the two Mr. Peaks, I think they had some concern, and I share some of their concern in regards to housing developments or apartments that are not classified as quote unquote business under the code. If it's 4 or more units, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that's what it says when I reviewed it, that it's required to be, that it falls under residential. And so I think what Mr. Peak, the two Mr. Peaks were, and I read the emails from both, what they were indicating is that they felt that they're conducting a business as an apartment facility, and that they shouldn't be held to the same standard. They should be allowed to go out and bid like all the other businesses in town. And that was how I interpreted his email. Hopefully I'm on track with this. Is that what you concluded as well?
I'm not really sure if that's the way I read it. I don't know. Are the apartment complexes on Fremont under WM?
Yeah.
Do you know? Peak?
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah. Go ahead, City Manager Mershon.
Ben Marchant, City Manager, for the record. Apartments are classified as commercial. They're not considered residential as far as the land use and the business use. And so the Fremont apartments actually use Osesi Waste Services at this time.
Yeah.
So the
So I
indication
didn't
was,
take it that way. I take it that they were with waste management, but they didn't like the
so
process in which
when I read
they-
it, it says 4 or more residential units. Are those not considered residential units then?
Aaron Morrison, City Attorney, they are not considered residential units for that purpose, so they would be considered commercial units.
Okay, so then the email that he wrote doesn't really apply then. Is that what you're saying? And then I also have a concern about a contract for such a lengthy amount of time. And my number one concern is that as a growing community, if we increase in size in any capacity, we have the ability to negotiate a much better price. The more residents, of course, the cost comes down. So I would be interested in a short-term agreement. I also would like to hear from other companies that have ideas about providing service to Fernley. And anybody can come up here during public comment and make a pitch, I guess. Even if we weren't soliciting bids, that's their right. So I would encourage anybody that disagrees to get up and talk about it and give their solution. But I like the agreement. I like recycling, and I like some of the things they've said. A 13-year contract, 13 plus year, I'm not interested in.
Okay, so Councilman Torres.
So the agenda item is just to confirm the date of the waste management survey completion. That's all we're approving here. So if there's no other questions, I'll make a motion.
Go ahead, make the motion.
Discussion, sorry. I move to direct staff to confirm the waste management survey completion date and to bring back the results of the survey conducted to determine the best option selected by our citizens. The survey should include residential options only.
Second them.
We have a motion by Councilman Torres, seconded by Councilman Lau. Please vote. Ward 1, Councilman Hannan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Ward 2, Councilwoman Zaberski.
I vote yes.
Ward 3, Councilman Lau.
Yes.
Ward 4, Councilman Torres.
Yes.
Ward 5, Councilman Mendoza.
Yes.
All right, motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll now move on to line item 6. Was there anybody on Zoom? Okay. Line item 6, public hearing 6.1 for possible action discussion regarding the fiscal year 25-26 final budget, including but not limited to all funds within the Water Enterprise Fund, Wastewater Enterprise Fund, General Fund, Special Revenue Fund, Capital Improvement Programs, rates, all city departments, the budget process, timelines, goals, existing budget, debit, staffing, including but not limited to the reorganization, reclassification, employee position, and contracts, new positions, and other matters related to thereof. So this is a public hearing, and Councilman Mendoza.
Yes. I reviewed the revised budget that we're reviewing today and voting on. And I would like to have the public safety item removed out of the general vote for this. And just for a little bit background for our constituents out there, I started as a volunteer firefighter here in Fernley and served over 9 years as a volunteer while raising a son by myself. So I did that for 9 years before I went full-time for the fire district. And there's a public safety line item within this budget that could affect the fire district that I now currently work for as a fire captain. That line item is, from what I understand, when Councilwoman Zabrowski requested it, was to support services for law enforcement and fire within the city limits of Fernley. And it is now in there as a potential a budget line item. And these services or this line item is intended to, shore up or assist fiscally public safety within our community. And to maintain transparency and to avoid any conflict of interest, I request that that line item be removed and we have a discussion on it separately before we continue with the rest of the budget. Because this one I will be abstaining from as well. And I hope the vote will, support public safety within our community. And
Mr. Carson, what is that? Where's that line item at?
Robert Carson, City Treasurer, for the record. That line item is not included in the final budget packet.
so today I received a paper with it in here and it has zeros on it and I highlighted it. So are we not supporting public safety or are we not?
That, Robert Carson, City Treasurer, for the record. That line item is just a general format. It's a general format for the state and it's required to be in that format. There's nothing included in the public safety function for this budget proposal.
I see it, but I know there's nothing included, so those zeros in there. Or there isn't any numbers in there, but there's a line item in there. That line item did not exist last budget meeting. And there was also a conversation that you couldn't put a public safety line item in the budget because we didn't have a public safety function. But then we concluded that Mark IV was building a public safety facility. And that's what I'm assuming this was put in there.
No, this is just a standard state document. So this is what you're voting to approve. This comes directly from the State Department of Taxation, and that's why it's included. We didn't add that in there specifically because of the conversation that we had at the workshop.
And why wasn't it put in? Remind me about that conversation.
I'm going to let Mayor McIntyre speak to that when he presents the budget to you.
I'm sorry, what was your question?
It sounds like after our conversation and our request to have this line item in there, it was not put in there. And I was even briefed on removing this out so that I didn't have any conflict because I work full-time for the fire district. So do we not have a public safety line item in the budget?
We do not have a public line item safety in the budget. Seems how it is not a function of the city.
So why is the city building a fire station?
That is in a
That is a
development
question.
agreement.
That is a question for you, because I guess Robert Carson can't answer it.
Why are we building a fire department? Because that was in a development agreement with the prior chief. That before we could do any more building out there, Mark IV had to build a firehouse. That's why it's there.
And who's going to own that fire station after it's built?
The city of Fernley will own it.
So why don't we have a public safety function?
Because we do not have a fire department.
But we
The,
have a
the city itself does not have a fire department.
But we will have a fire station.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that doesn't make sense.
Which we offered to lease to the North Lyon County Fire Department, and for some reason they do not want this firehouse now, according to Chief Bunn. Evidently, you don't have the manpower to man it.
But the city of Fernley is still going to have a fire station.
The city of Fernley will own that fire station, and when the time comes in, the revenues are available to the fire department, it will be available for Lyon County Fire to occupy that building.
It'll be for who to occupy it?
North Lyon County Fire.
I thought you just said they didn't want to occupy it.
At the present time, Chief Bunn said that he didn't want to operate it because he didn't have the means, the personnel to man it.
So with the surplus of money, do you not think that the city of Fernley could assist with putting 2 people out in that fire station that's being built for the city of Fernley? To help assist
So-
with public safety within the city of Fernley?
So so you want us to take our tax money that we get from the taxpayers to run the city and the amenities the city needs. You want us to take that money and give it to the fire department, where the fire department also has their tax that they receive to run their fire department. That's like me giving you $100 and I have $100 and you spend yours unwisely, but I saved mine. So because you're out of money, does that mean now I need to give you $100 or
So
part of my 100?
Are you insinuating the fire department has spent their money unwisely? Didn't you just make a statement?
That is exactly what the chief said, that the prior chief did, was unnecessarily spent money.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
we have a motion on the table. It appears that the motion is invalid. Do we have a second, or can I make a motion? Because I'd like to make a motion if he wants to appeal his motion
You want to make a motion on,
when it's appropriate.
okay.
I know we have to open this for public comment, but did you make a motion?
I
To
was
pull something-
requesting for this line item to come out, and apparently there isn't a line item, and now we're having a discussion.
Okay. Was that a motion or was it not?
So the motion is void because there is no line item.
I thought we had to open this for public comment before we make a
There,
motion.
there
Well,
is
this is
no, so hold on, guys.
I beg pardon.
One person has the floor at a time, like I said. Councilman Hannan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So there was a motion made. My understanding is this is open for public comment. So usually we have a discussion, we open it for public comment, we make a motion after the public comment. I think, and since I heard what I thought was a motion, and since that motion is invalid because the terms of it don't exist, do we need a second? Does it fall dead? Does he need to retract his motion so that we can move on?
That, Mr. Mortensen, I don't recall hearing a motion. I heard him that you wanted.
I was making a request that we remove it
A
out.
request, yeah.
And Mayor Mortensen, City Attorney, that's how I interpret it as well. There hasn't yet been a motion made. He's just indicating that there is a request that be handled at that time as a separate motion. So I did not, I interpret it as a request and not a motion.
Thank you.
As a request and not a motion.
That's
Oh.
correct.
Okay,
Because Councilman Mendoza indicated that he is going to abstain from the vote, so the motion would come from elsewhere.
okay. So we're good.
You're good to go. Aaron Mortensen, City Attorney, you're good to go. Just make sure to have public comment prior to making any motions, any votes.
Well, nobody has made a motion yet, but Councilman Hannan wants to make a motion.
I'm prepared to make a motion after public comment when it's appropriate.
Okay, so, well, what I'd like to do is, it seems how I'm presenting this budget to council, and there's really been no changes in this budget. This is a really good budget. With this budget, it's a balanced budget. This is the second year in a row that staff, my staff, Ben Marchant's staff, has presented to this council a balanced budget, with us spending down fund balance in order for one-time revenues in order to move this city forward. That is adding vehicles that we need and equipment that we need to move this city forward. This budget also is what council's top priorities. So this budget was set up to include all of council's top priorities when we had met before. This is a great budget. And I just want to say that this budget is a really good budget. Mr. Marchant and Robert Carson, myself, along with staff, worked really hard to put this budget together. It's a great budget. It's going to move the city forward. I would hate for this to be anything different than what it is right now. So this is a really great budget. Like I said, I had at least 13 emails that I had printed out and gave to council. If I like and they need, I can read each and every one of those. And this is in support of passing this budget as proposed. Anything less than that would be detrimental to the city of Fernley. And so anyways, if you would like, Mr. Hannon, I think you could make your motion and if we get a second, then we can move on. Before the vote is taken, I will open it up for public comment. Is that right? Or do we have public comment now?
Aaron Morse, City Attorney, I'd prefer we do public comment prior to motion being made.
Okay. All right. So I will now open this up because we have had discussion with city council and staff. And then I will open up for public input. And then I'll have additional discussion with city council and staff. And then city council will make a motion and action one way and how to direct staff. So I will now open this up for public comment.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. For the record, my name is Scott Barnes, and I am president of the Fernley Builders Association and president-elect of the National Association of Industrial and Office Properties, commonly referred to as NAOP. The city of Fernley and your surrounding communities are critical to the economic future of Northern Nevada. As our state and region continues to attract new industries and the employees who work in them, it is imperative that our local governments be prepared and forward-looking to ensure that we have the necessary infrastructure and institutional support to make them and all of us a success. We strongly support the final budget proposal presented to you by city staff. This budget not only will aid in our development efforts, but will also enhance the Fernley community overall by updating the city's comprehensive master plan, updating the capital improvement plan, increasing utility staff to help maintain city standards with current and evolving federal and state wastewater and water treatment standards, increasing staff and consulting efforts for the development application and permit review, thereby increasing productivity for the staff and for the process. Maintaining Fernley's momentum with the treatment plant expansions and infrastructure improvements related to the projected growth. Without these benefits added by the proposed budgets, none of us will be successful. Affirming that this budget directly addresses the goals that the mayor and the city council has set for their strategic plan for the city of Fernley and sends clear message to Northern Nevada and businesses and industry leaders from other parts of the country. How many cities can say that they're operating in the black? Right now, we know that two of our sister cities to the west cannot say that. For these reasons, we strongly encourage the city council to approve the final budget process and proposal for fiscal year 2025. I thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of these development groups and the development community.
Do we have any other public input? Go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Derek Kirkland, also a board member with Fernley Builders Association, also represent several developers working on projects in Fernley. I think I get the question asked a lot is, we get projects approved, why aren't the projects moving forward? One of the biggest issues comes down to infrastructure. We've had a lot of conversations over that this past year. I think we were really happy and pleased to see a lot of the infrastructure planning and the master plan, all that getting put into this budget. As Scott had mentioned, definitely support that, the budget moving forward. Infrastructure is behind. Losing more time on the infrastructure planning is just going to hurt development. It's going to hurt these projects. We have tentative maps that are approaching expiration, and a lot of those projects haven't moved forward, honestly, because we're trying to find ways to address the infrastructure. Some of these projects have, $14 million price tags to build the first toilet. And so I think We definitely support the city's budget and a lot of the infrastructure infrastructure planning that is going into it. So again, Derek Kirkland, Fernley Builders Association board member. Thank you.
Do we have any other public input?
For the record, Lowell Patton, resident at 1000 Truckee Lane. While I'm the president of Main Street Fernley, we didn't address this at our board, so I'm not representing that organization tonight, just myself and the owner and two businesses. As it stands, as it's presented, I support this budget. I know there's some alternatives out there floating around, but as it stands, I support this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. Paul Kinney with Mark IV Capital for the record. I'm coming to you to support the budget as presented or pending before you for a number of different reasons. This will allow us to continue our master plan. It will allow for additional staff to continue with efficient permit reviews. And it will also allow for the continuation of studies that are ongoing and are to begin. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members. Dana Yulehorn for the record. I've been living in this city for a little over 20 years. I've made it my home because I love it here. I love all the people here. Don't necessarily love the fact that there's no water and the wind blows and there's dust and all that good stuff. But ever since I've been here, there's always been at the back of everybody's mind that the city doesn't have any money for anything. Whatever it is, we don't get our C-tax money. We don't get this. We don't get that. So we don't have any money for anything. Finally, we have a manager that's proposed a budget that works, and it's a balanced budget, and we do have money for things. And I would hate to see that shot down. I really think that this city needs to move forward and do the things that are in this budget and move forward. So the whole country, it seems like, is coming here. And if we don't do something right now, we're going to get run over. So I would appreciate it if you pass this budget. Thank you much.
Good evening, council. I did not plan on coming up here today. Tammy Richardson, City of Fernley resident. This city is growing and it's going to only get bigger, which means, you are going to need more staff to be able to handle all the growth and with everybody. And I have my own personal reasons for being up here, but I really think that you need to approve this budget. It's got so many great things. And Ben has worked so hard on it along with all the future city council members. It's got everything you wanted in it. So please pass the budget. And I promised I didn't wear my hat.
Do we have any other public input? Do we have anybody on Zoom? Okay, so Councilman Hannon has asked to have the floor after public comment.
I think there's a question. I'll let her ask a question. And
Okay, you have a question?
Yeah, and a comment.
Okay.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank all of staff for working so diligently to put this budget together. I agree that it's a very well balanced budget. I'm very happy with it. Every piece of the budget except for one line item. I agree with the mayor that it would be detrimental to our city that the budget doesn't pass. I'm supportive of the budget, but jeopardizing the future of Fernley for one line item out of the budget, it would send a message to staff that one position is valued more than the whole future of our city and our budget. So I just want to make sure that staff knows that we are super aware of how well you worked on this budget and how much hard work that you put into it. And thank you so much.
Councilman Torres, you have a comment?
So I wasn't sure on if we had, at the last budget workshop, come to an agreement as a council that we were going to hire both utilities director 2 and utilities director 1. I believe we asked for it to come back for discussion at this time. And I know that some of the ideas that were floated was to hire the 2, which wouldn't be hired until January as per the request of the budget, and then wait until this time next year, give that person 6 months to get in there in order to be able to find out what the 2 needs before we hire the 1.
City Treasurer Carson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Robert Carson, City Treasurer, for the record. So during our workshop, we discussed, excuse me, the utility engineer 1 and 2 position and just approving the allocation for it, not hiring it or approving any of the job descriptions because we haven't gotten to that point yet. And those would not be coming to you until about mid-year next year. And they wouldn't be hired until at the very earliest January 1st. So this was just to approve the allocation to hire if so chooses next year. But if we bring the job descriptions and the positions to you and you decide not to approve them, then we'll go from there.
Okay, so it's going to be a little while before they're both hired.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just want them to like not come in the door and then have to train, their subordinate right off the bat.
Right.
And then my second question is, I would like to see with the code enforcement, and this is going to be a policy decision, not as much as a budget decision, but before anybody is hired for the code enforcement, I believe the city attorney and the court need to work on the policies in our code so that it's absolutely crystal clear as far as what we want them to do, the process, things that are not crystal clear right now by our code. So I would like to see that. I'm for both positions as long as they don't have to be post-certified like we discussed, but the code's got to be fixed before we hire anybody so that they are trained the right way right off the bat. Does that make sense? Thank you.
So I kind of want to make a comment on what Councilwoman Zaberski was saying, is that she knows how much work went into the budget. Well, I can't see her saying that it's a good budget and without knowing that the one line item that you want to get rid of is the line item to put this budget together. Put this budget together last year. Put this budget together this year. So I just wanted to make that known. Councilman Mendoza, did you have a comment?
No, I pressed that on accident. Sorry.
Councilman Hannan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say something quickly and then I'll make a motion if there's no other comments. I want to say that I'm extremely proud of the city of Fernley and the staff and the residents that live here for the last decade plus. We haven't been able to really do much. It's been kind of dreary, to be honest with you. A lot of folks that I talk to on a day-to-day basis, when I ran and when I ran in 2018, said the same thing, that we just can't get anything done. We're not moving forward. The frustration with everything. I had a list when I ran in 2018 of like 10 things that were the top 10 items, and there were many, many more. And I'm so proud of the city of Fernley. I'm proud of staff. I'm proud of the people that live here that have stood up and helped the city grow and become a better place to live. Finally, for once, we're a diamond in the rough. We have a balanced budget. We're not hurting for cash. This whole C-tax mess that we talk about over and over again, and I've always said the exact opposite. Without it, we've been able to prevail. And that's amazing to me. The things that we're doing now versus just 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. I cherish every single one of the people that work in this building. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this city. I care. I barely sleep at night. For the last 2 weeks, I've maybe slept four hours a night thinking about this very item. To eliminate a position in this capacity is such a backstab, in my opinion, to the person that helped us accomplish all of the goals that we sought out to accomplish. It's amazing. It's a miracle that we're this far ahead. And with that being said, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the fiscal budget 2025-2026 as presented to council.
Second that motion.
So I know we have if we have a motion and a second on the floor, can I still open it back up for public comment?
Aaron Mortson, City Attorney, while you technically can under the rules, I would much prefer if the motion is withdrawn and then public comment happen and the motion happen afterwards to incorporate anything that comes from public comment.
Mr. Mayor, I'll withdraw my motion.
Second concurs.
Okay, so I will open it back up for public comment if anybody else has any public input that they would like to say in behalf of the city. We're open for it. Okay, seeing none, Councilman Hannan, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll restate my motion. For the record, I move.
We do have public comment.
All right, I won't do that again.
My name's Deborah Bement. I'm staff here. I'm a permit tech. I also am I was the committee chair for the incorporation committee. Have a little ranch, a photography studio. This is my home. I'm confused. So can you explain? You guys want to eliminate the manager position? Is that what I'm hearing? You're going to defund the manager? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what's the line item that's not going to be funded? Is that what? I'm just confused.
Well, that's Councilwoman Zaberski's question. I guess if she wants to answer it, she doesn't have to. She can.
Nobody's made a motion for anything like that yet.
Okay.
So right now, that is the position that I'm talking about. But nobody's made a motion for that yet.
Okay.
So, if you knew more explanation, if that motion comes up, then I'm happy to help. But as a council member, I was advised to not respond to public comment. And so that hasn't been a motion yet, but that was what my comment was about. Yes.
Okay. So I just think that if somebody's unhappy with the job, I'm just confused because it seems to me that the mayor is supposed to be taking care of that. And it seems like council's trying to intervene and kind of take that position over. I could be completely wrong because I'm not really up on everything like I would be if I was in charge of something. But it doesn't make any sense to me that if the mayor is the person that is taking care of, it says at his pleasure who he hires, that the council is going to come in and squash that by defunding, because then who's going to run the city? Who's going to run the city? who's going to tell us and staff what to do? So it seems like if you want to be the ones that, if the council wants to be the ones that does what the mayor does, then maybe you ought to redo the way the law is set up to where you actually are running the city in that capacity, because it doesn't make any sense to me that you would come in and kind of submarine the mayor like that and submarine the city like that, because this is the governance that we're living under, where the mayor is the one that makes that decision. And you guys are trying to supersede that. To me, that just seems, it smacks really badly. And if you are unhappy with your manager, there's ways of doing that or not. But if you want to govern in that way, then maybe change the governance. So that's just my input. And I am really confused about that. It just doesn't make a ton of sense to me. So I thank you for
Debbie,
your
your
time
time's up.
and
Okay,
for
thank you.
listening.
Yeah, your time's up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So Ms. Oberski won't talk about it, but I will. What the problem here is that we have some council have a personality issue with our city manager, and it's not a job performance because
Aaron Morrison,
when
City
you,
Attorney, if
yeah.
we could focus on the position itself and not on character and competence. If possible, let's focus on the position.
Do what?
Aaron Morrison, City Attorney. If possible, let's focus on the position itself and not on character and competence. So let's not discuss whether or not there's any issues with character or anything like that. Let's focus
Why?
instead. As part of the budget, we should focus instead on the budget itself and the items and the position itself.
Well, how can I do that without explaining the reason why there's council up here that have an issue with the position of city manager?
If you want to take a brief recess, we can discuss that.
Yes, let's do that then. Please. Okay, we'll call this meeting back to order. Councilman Hannon, if you want to go ahead and make your motion.
I have a question for the city attorney real fast.
Yes, go ahead, Councilwoman Zaberski.
Were you able to find out when council as a whole requested a cause and competency meeting concerning our city manager?
Aaron Mortson, I was not yet. Unfortunately, we finished our brief about 4 minutes prior to council starting and I wasn't able to get it. From my recollection, it was late spring of last year.
It was requested late spring of last year, and then it was also vetoed by the mayor that same meeting, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Councilman Hannon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I feel like we're in Groundhog Day. I feel like I did this already once. With that being said, and in good faith, I make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2025-2026 City of Fernley budget as presented.
Second that motion.
We have a motion by Councilman Hannon, seconded by Councilman Lau. Please vote. Okay, we're going to do this. Ward 1, Councilman Hannon.
Sure, it's no surprise. I'm a yes.
Ward 2, Councilwoman Zaberski.
I vote no.
Ward 3, Councilman Hannon. I'm sorry, Councilman Lau.
Yes.
Ward 4, Councilman Torres.
No.
Ward 5, Councilman Mendoza.
No.
Motion fails.
Mr. Martinson, I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead, Councilman Torres.
I move to approve the budget in its entirety, except for defunding the position of city manager.
I second.
So, Mr. Mortensen, can I ask them to withdraw their motion and second and have public comment?
Aaron Mortson,
they
city attorney,
want.
you can, but that's ultimately up to them if they want to
Yeah.
do that.
Councilman Torres?
No, I'm not willing to remove my motion. Motion stands.
Mr. Mayor, can we have a conversation before we vote? I believe there was already.
Yes, you bet we
Thank
can.
Can I ask you why? Why do you want to delete the city manager budget? I should say, let me clarify, the city manager position on the budget.
We're asked not to talk about those matters per legal brief, and no, I will not answer that.
Okay. Does anybody else want to give it a shot? I mean, we're supposed to work as a team. We're 5 people up here. In good faith, we're supposed to work together. Nobody prior to today, nobody's reached out to me with a reason in private or via email or in a legal brief why we should eliminate this position. And to call a body in this capacity and then just to ask on a whim, take a leap of faith with no explanation to delete a position in this city government is so absurd in my head. I can't wrap my head around it. Why are we doing this? If you just say, I don't want the position, I want the mayor to be the city manager, or I want the deputy to be the city manager, or we don't have enough money, or we have too much money, or whatever it is, it doesn't have to be, we're not supposed to talk about the character or the conduct, but you can tell me why, can't you?
Mr. Martinson, do I need to say it again?
Aaron Morrison, City Attorney, that's entirely up to you.
I think it would actually turn into a public argument if we went into it up here. And I'm not willing to do that. We've already hashed out differences with myself and Mr. Lau. I think we're on a good page. And just as you make a motion or vote in the way that you deem best, based upon what you want to see, that is what I'm doing.
Mr. Mayor, may I respond?
Yes, you can.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councilman Torres. I appreciate the dialogue now, after the fact. There's a process that we have here. If we're disenfranchised with somebody that works here, there's a human resources manager. I said director earlier. I'm sorry. And we have a city manager. We have a city attorney. We have a mayor. And anyone can go to any of these folks, or all of them, or to the newspaper if they wanted to, and give some juicy facts on why somebody needs to be eliminated. But that hasn't happened. No, to my knowledge, nobody's told me. I'm a body up here. I'm duly elected by my constituents. And to respect my constituents, I should have a say in this, and I should know why we're doing it. And when you don't share that with other people up here who are duly elected, I feel that disenfranchises the voters. If we want to be honest, we don't have to talk about. We don't.
Okay, hold on.
Can I continue?
You have the floor. Go
Thank
ahead.
you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not going to speak about the competency and character of anybody up here. I think you guys are doing that on your own. I just don't see why I should be kept in the dark, and 3 people here know something I don't know. Don't we all work under the same premise that we're here for the betterment of the people? God knows I'm out there every day giving as much information as I can to the public, being as transparent as possible. And you want me to vote on something that I don't even know why I'm voting on. You won't tell the public. You won't tell me. I haven't heard a reason. In private, I haven't heard a reason. We don't have to talk about the exact, whatever the allegations are, or whatever the thought process is. But unless you do that, then this looks like it's personal. And that's the way I feel. This is so ridiculous. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Hold on. I met with every council person, and I met with one, and this council person, I asked him the reasoning. What would be a reasoning for me to fire or to defund the city manager position? You know what I was told? I need to save that for public comment, but yet that council person sitting up here is not willing to talk about it in the public. That upsets me. I don't even know the full reason. There is no reason given to me. I have an open door policy. Anybody can come in and talk to me, and I've had a lot of workers come in and talk to me that work out in the field as well. I have one council person up here that has been in my office 2 times in 2.5 years. I've had another council person sitting up here, a long-time council person that has been in my office 1 time. And I have an open door policy. Not 1 time have they come in and talked to me or gave me a goal setting that they would like to see the city manager position achieve. I've had 1 council person give me goal settings, and those goal settings were met by city manager. The others did not give not 1 goal that they would like to see the city manager perform in over a year, and nothing. This is a really sad day for Fernley. It really is. Councilwoman Zaberski asked about me vetoing character and competence and when I did it. The reason I did it was because of the explanation given to me about Mr. Marchant. Can I say that? Well, the reason given to me was that there was new proof. There was no new proof. That's why I vetoed it. I am a non-voting mayor. If this council up here doesn't like the way that this organization is supposed to be ran, where the legislative side stays on the legislative side, the executive does the executive, and the judicial does their judicial thing. You need to let the executive run the executive. You as a legislative body need to do your job. And that is saying what you want to, how this budget is gone. And by defunding the city managing position is a big letdown to the city of Fernley. It's a big letdown to the citizens who put you in your seats with no explanation as to why. I would think that you would want to owe it to the public to tell them why you are doing what you're doing, because this is not right. We have a city manager that has presented a balanced budget for 2 years in a row. And we're probably going to be to the good this year. And I mean, like one of the citizens said, for the longest time, we didn't have water, we don't have water, we don't have water, we don't have money, we can't hire people, we can't hire people. And now all of a sudden, after a year and 2 or 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is that Mr. Marchand has been our city manager, now all of a sudden things are turned around and the city of Fernley is moving forward. He's made it possible for most of the workers at the city got a really nice advancement in their pay about where they should be. He done that. He did the survey study. He and HR did the survey study that brought forward that. This council up here didn't believe the survey study, so we paid $20,000. This council up here spent $20,000 of the city's money to do a survey study that we already did. And guess what? We spent $20,000 and they came back with the same results. So you want to talk about putting money in a public safety? There's $20,000 that could have went into some kind of fund to help out when it's needed. Excuse me? Oh, okay. I thought you had something to say. I'm just really disappointed. We're supposed to be working together as a team, but yet we have a 3-member team against a 2-member team with a mayor that they don't want to talk to and don't want to say what's going on, what their thoughts are. Plus, they don't want to tell the public what's going on. That's really shameful. It really is. Well, yeah, there's always that. But anyways, you know what? I just, let me just say this. I want to tell you what's going to happen if this passes. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Every one of these department heads that have been going with some of these council that go into their doors secretly and talking and been throwing city manager under the bus, I'm going to say. But then there's some that haven't. Wow. That is really bad for a city this size, the city that is prospering, a city that is growing, a city that is making improvements, trying to make a better way of life for every citizen, every business that is in the city of Fernley. And we have a council sitting up here backdooring everybody, backdooring the city manager. So let me tell you, who's going to run the city if we defund the city manager position? Is one of these council members going to come and run this city? Do you know about the budget, about planning, about engineering, about code enforcement, about building? Do you know all that? Do you guys know all that in detail? What our city manager does? Who's going to do that? Who's going to create the budget? If this passes, you are going to put so much pressure on every one of these department heads and myself. I'm a part-time mayor as you're a part-time council person. But I'm down here every day. Maybe not all day. Mondays I golf. Afternoons I come in. But I'm down here almost every single day. I make $29,000 a year and I'm down here every day. I'm the least paid person at this city because I have passion for this city. I have passion how I want this city to grow and prosper and have a better way of life for everybody that lives here. I've been here for 65 years. I've seen the city of Fernley go from 500 people to over 25,000 people. And I see a better way of life for people. But I'm going to tell you what this does if this passes, is this is going to put the city of Fernley back 15 years. Because it's not the right thing to do. It is not the right thing to vote for this defunding the city managing position, because here's what's going to happen. We have a deputy city manager for the city of Fernley, can't move up into that position because we don't have a city manager position. It's defunded. It's defunded. So who's going to run the city? When I first became mayor, I was asked to, we have a city manager when I first got here. He's now gone. And that's because of, it doesn't matter why. But the matter of the fact is that I had to try to run this city for 6 months. And I'll tell you, it was more than I can. I don't have the education to run this city the way it should be ran. Maybe back then when there was only 500 or 600 people, I could do it. And I passed it over to our deputy city manager. She struggled. She's great at what she does, all the projects she's got going on, and she takes care of. Who's going to do all the other stuff? Does this council expect me to do all this other stuff? Are you willing to pay me $170,000 a year or whatever it is the city manager makes? That's not the point. I didn't become mayor for the money. That's quite obvious because I make $29,000 a year. But so I'd like to explain what the city manager does and why it's important that we have that position funded and filled with a more than qualified person. As the chief executive office of the city, I, as mayor, have the power to appoint the city manager with the council's approval. The city manager is the chief administrative officer, chief operating officer of the city, and responsible for enforcing vision, budget, ordinances established by the city council. The city manager is also responsible for communicating and cooperating with me to accomplish these goals. They are also responsible for communicating the city's needs and conditions with the mayor and city council, as well as providing all reports required by law or requested by the mayor or council. For administrative standpoint, the manager has the authority to make personnel decisions of all positions that the city presides in statutory positions. Any creations of new reclassifications or raises or positions are brought before city council for their approval. The city manager reviews and recommends a schedule for all positions, including minimum, maximum rates, step increases, all positions for the approval of and by the city council. The city manager keeps the council advised of financial conditions and the future needs of the city. The city manager also prepares and presents a budget to council. However, I'm doing this in Mr. Mershon's place for the final budget due to councilors, I can't say his name, recommendation that may that may stop all the work that the city of Fernley has been working for years to advance this city to where we need to go. So if this council really wants it on their shoulders to put us back 10 years to where we don't hire the people that are needed to run this city, okay. That's your call. But it's not right. Councilman Hannan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make one last attempt to negotiate in good faith. I offer Councilman Torres, Mendoza, Zaberski, Lau, and the mayor another legal brief to explain to me why I should vote to defund this position. I'll make you a deal right now. If you present a case to me that is supported by fact and you can illustrate that this position should be terminated, I will absolutely 100% vote for you. If you don't do that, then I think the folks are going to think that we're back in the good old boys days where people are doing things behind closed doors and not sharing information with everybody. I extend this olive branch to you. I will not be a participant in this sham hearing, whatever you want to call this. This is such a disgrace. We have to, just because we can do something doesn't mean we should do something. This is an absolute abuse of power. There are the executive branch of government and judicial, legislative branch. We have the judicial down here, and I'm a big fan of her. Doing a great job, by the way. The executive branch, Mr. Mayor, you're doing a terrific job, and the council here, you guys are doing a great job. And if I was on a dirt road, no matter how much I disagree with you, I'd stop and help you fix a flat tire. I'd bite my tongue. I'd do it because it's the right thing to do. I wouldn't drive by you just because I can. And I think that's what you're doing to me here. You are not giving me the information that I need to make a decision. And so therefore I vote no on this. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. I know at this point, this is my meeting and I allow this council to do their business at my meeting. And so seems how this is my meeting. I'm going to, Councilman Torres, did you have something? No? Okay. I thought I seen your light. Come on, go off. I'm going to open it back up for public comment. If any public wants to get up and speak, that's fine. If not, we'll move on.
Mr. Mortensen? We have a motion and a second on the floor.
That's correct. And I've been advised that I could open it back up for public comment if I wanted to. And then after we have public comment, I will ask you to restate your motion.
Aaron Morrison, City Attorney. The rules of procedure state that there's to be no informal discussion after a motion has been declared. It does not exclude formal discussion. It is my advice that for the purposes of the record, that once the motion is on the floor, the motion is voted on as to keep it clear. But it is permitted under the rules of procedure to allow additional discussion if you so want. Against my advice.
If who wants, the motioner or the mayor, the chair?
Me.
The mayor controls the meeting, and so he can choose to open it up. Again, I don't recommend it, but that is legal under procedure.
So I just opened it up. I want to hear what the public has to say. And if you don't have nothing to say, that's fine. I just think that position is being railroaded and you are going to set this city back. And if you want that on your shoulders, fine. I will make sure that everybody knows that it's on your shoulders.
Tammy Richardson, resident of Fernley. I don't know what's going on between everybody. However, what I am going to say is that I believe you guys should keep this business, not personal. It sounds like it's personal. And so I want you guys to take into consideration the residents of Fernley, what you're taking away. If you have a personal issue with someone that is on this board or in this government branch or whatever you want to call it, if you have a personal issue, that should be taken up with that person and not affect all the residents of Fernley and all the businesses of Fernley. That should be taken up between you guys behind closed doors, whatever you guys got to do. But don't defund a position just because you don't like the person in that position. And that's what it sounds like to me, what is going on. So thank you.
Dana Ulhorn again for the record. And I want to thank the mayor. I've known the mayor since he started running. I didn't know him before that. Come to love the guy. And was happy to hear him speak his mind, which apparently some of you cowards won't do. I will tell you that I won't be the only person that will ask for a recall if you try to defund the city manager position. That's just the dumbest thing I've ever heard anybody want to do. I will not be the only person that wants to see you people recalled. I'm done.
Kelly Bry, my tone's going to be a little bit different than Dana's. As a citizen, I got very personal with Albert during Red Hawk Ranch, my feelings. And I had to grow up and mature, attend city council meetings, and this is specifically towards Councilman Torres. And golly jeepers, I realized that a lot of the things that he voted for and supported were exactly how I felt and how I thought. But it took me a little while to get over Red Hawk. With that said, as I'm sitting in there, normally I get angry, and that's why I've been sitting down the whole time. I'm sad. It's almost impossible if you operate a business or you're involved in any civic or nonprofit organizations in Fernley to not get to know everybody on a personal level, emotional level. We may not all go out to dinner all the time, but you know everybody. So this is really, really, really tough. And my concern is, and I'm not looking at you, Ben. I don't understand how we go forward if let's say it's not Ben, it's just X city manager. I don't understand how we go forward unless the goal is to change the form of city government to where the mayor is and I can't remember the term. Right now, we're strong mayor. You guys I know we can't talk, but can you head nod? We're a strong
weak form mayor government.
Or weak form. So if that's the objective or goal by the three that are voting to defund it, I would like to hear that. And maybe and you don't respond during public comment, I understand. I just am saddened, and I hope that I'm trying to think 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road, not just tomorrow, what this looks like. And I agree with you, Mayor. I love you. You don't have the skills or the education to be a good city manager. You're a great mayor, but you probably wouldn't be a very good city manager long term. So I just hope that the alternative, I don't even know how to envision it. So that's just my thoughts right now. Thank you, guys.
Dan Roberto for the record. This is embarrassing. This is downright embarrassing. I moved to this city and opened a business and have invested a lot of my money in this city. And this is the way you treat new business? I'm a member of the Fernley Chamber of Commerce. I invest my time in that board to drive business in this town. What the city manager has done, what the city has done, is build business in this town. This sets us back so far that it's embarrassing. As a Chamber of Commerce, how do we go forward and represent this city to potential businesses when our city council pulls, pardon my language, but crap like this? It's embarrassing. This is embarrassing. You should all be embarrassed to call yourself city council and that you're up here doing what's right for the city, because you're not. You are not. It's not about you. It's about the constituents. It's about business. And this kills it. Kills it. Why do I want to invest any more money in this city? Why does Mark IV? Why does Microsoft? Why do any of them want to come here and spend money here when you pull this kind of crap? You should be embarrassed. We shouldn't need a recall. You should just resign.
For the record, again, Lowell Patton, 1000 Truckee Lane. This is one of the alternatives that I mentioned that I can't support. Sometimes I get a bad rap for being unemotional and cold. And so I'm not going to address any character Ben might be disappointed that I'm not here to support him personally, but there are appropriate channels to make happen what you're trying to make happen tonight. And it is not during a budget process when you're talking about funding positions. You're not talking about funding people. I used to always get irritated when somebody said the dog catcher, because they were talking about a person. Not animal control officer, not city manager. What we're talking about tonight is the city manager's position and whether it should be funded or not. And to have a council by majority say this city should not have a city manager, to me, is just crazy. You're sending a message to business, I mean, residences too, but to business that this city is not open for business. There's going to be a domino effect of stagnation just due to workforce issues. But at the bottom of it is, this is not the appropriate channel to address what you're addressing tonight. You can vote how you want. That's what people always says. You're just going to have to deal with the consequences. But I do not believe it's the appropriate time to address a person in a position. Tonight you address the position and you're sending the message that this city doesn't need a city manager, and that is just not appropriate. Thank you.
You know, I just thought I'm calmed down a little bit. I just want to make one more comment and then I'll let City Manager Ben Marchant talk. And I would tell this council right here, we've done a lot of good things, but this isn't one of them. I would tell this council, give me some, council has not given me any goal sets for the city manager to achieve. If I had these goal sets that each and every one of you wanted me to pursue and make sure that gets done, and he didn't do them, I would be the first one to say, you're out of here. I've had, like I say, one council person gave me some goal sets, and he achieved the goal sets that the council person wanted. He achieved the goal sets that I set for him, but no other council person gave him any goals to achieve or to set or have talked to me about it. So how can myself in my right mind say that this is the right thing to do? It's not. City Manager Marchant.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am speaking not as city manager, but as a resident citizen of Fernley. I've been in my profession for 20 years now, and I have never been felt so mistreated and not talked to. I have not been put on any notice of performance issues. I have not been told any goals that I should have met that I have not met. I have not been served any papers. I'm not under investigation. At least I wasn't as of the last time I talked to the city attorney. And to suggest that this city does not need a city manager as the organization grows, I think is very poor judgment and governance. And I think it is foolish for a decision to be made rashly without proper public deliberation to talk about form of government and how the city should be structured and planned for the long term. Bringing it up at the 11th hour at the night you're approving the budget is a disservice to the citizens of Fernley for what kind of government you're trying to run. I do not typically stand up for myself because I have a very privileged position where I'm entrusted with the public trust. I work for the city of Fernley. I work for the mayor, and I am very passionate about providing the highest level of ethical, transparent, and honorable service I know how. I have the education to back it up. I have the experience in 6 different cities in 5 different states, and I have done everything that has been asked of me throughout the process. I know Councilor Torres would disagree. He has represented that I am not honest because I did not follow the specific expectation he had for a general request to pull back on the utilities management engineer because I didn't take it off the website. My interpretation, I pulled it back by not hiring it as requested. But the difference in expectations between vague versus clear directions do not constitute dishonesty on my part. I have signed an acknowledgement that I was noticed, that my character and competency could be discussed tonight, and I am bringing it up myself because I have nothing to hide, and I am here to serve. Thank you.
Councilman Hannon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And you've got 2 years of strong work to prove that you were able to make those goals happen and accomplish what you set out to do. And I think everyone's appreciative. I know I am, and I know all my constituents. No one's complaining to me. 2 years ago, lots of complaints. Not so many now. For the record, I just want to say that I was the person that gave the performance review with expectations, future expectations, things that I wanted to see changed. They were very minuscule, but my understanding is that nobody else gave input on how to improve on this particular position. I'm not talking specifically for Mr. Marchant, who I care deeply about and I appreciate, but this has to do with the performance of the job. There's a policy for everything. We have a policy for everything. When someone is not performing, like I said before, there's 4 people that I identified that you can go to and complain to. My understanding is that that hasn't happened. There's a form that you're given to review the office of city manager. I filled out that form and I was 100% truthful. I think I was brutally honest. And in so, it was mostly compliments, very minor things to improve. I'm very happy with the position that he has and the job that he's doing. But if you're not going to give honest feedback to the supervisors of that employee, and honest feedback to the council as a whole, as a body, and honest feedback to the city attorney and the HR manager and the mayor, the person who is his supervisor, his or her supervisor, the position. It's absolutely absurd. You're circumventing this whole process and doing a power grab. And it's like I said before, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. This is a huge indicator of the character of the folks up here. When you go nuclear, like this is the nuclear option. We've gone the nuclear option. And from here on out, it's going to be nuclear. We're not going to come to an understanding at all in this direction. I would extend to you a second time, I'm extending the olive branch, to take a legal brief, to step out in the hallway and identify to me the reasons why we should identify this as something that should be removed from the budget. If you present a case to me, if you present proof or facts that we can substantiate in the hallway there, then like I said before, I'll 100% vote for you. Thank you.
Is that council's wishes or not?
I request a legal brief.
And we can certainly do a legal brief, Aaron Morrison, City Attorney. And my concern is that I want to make sure that you understand that a legal brief needs to be limited to issues regarding potential or current litigation. And so I need to understand that just because you talk to your lawyer doesn't turn it into a legal brief unless it discusses those. So I'll just kind of preface that before we go back, and that's where I'll have to limit it to.
Let me restate then. Can I have the floor, Mr. Mayor? Excuse me, I didn't.
You have the floor.
Thank you for addressing me. Then with that being said, then I would make a motion to take a 10-minute recess so we can discuss this outside of a legal brief in the hallway. And if there's information that we'd like to pass along to make your case, by all means, I will be out there. Thank you.
Aaron Morrison, City Attorney, just make sure you comply with quorum rules and open meeting law.
Yeah, so there can't be more than 2 talking, otherwise you're breaking the
Do not create walking quorum, and do not create walking quorums. If you have questions, come talk to me. But I just want to make sure that a recess is not a reason that all of council can get together and have a conversation in a big group. I would make sure that I want to make sure that doesn't happen.
Mr. Mayor.
Hold on a minute, Councilman Torres.
Can you make a motion for a break? Or can the mayor just
the mayor can call a recess, or council can make a motion for a recess?
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, go ahead, Councilman.
I would ask that the three council people who are opposed to the budget pick a person to come tell me, so it's a one-on-one in the hallway, why we're doing this.
Okay, we'll take a 10-minute break. If I could get council back up on the dais, please. All right, call this meeting back to order. We are still at public comment. If our Councilman Hannon, go ahead and then.
Thank you, Mr.
anybody-
Mayor. I just want to say for the record that I sent an olive branch to go talk in the hallway and ask one person to come out and tell me why we should defund this position, and no one took that opportunity to come out and tell me. So at this point, I have no knowledge of why we're doing this. I'm being kept in the dark, and I am going to vote no on this.
Do we have any other public comment at this time?
Neil McIntyre II for the record, and I don't get up here and speak very often for obvious reasons. But as a citizen of Fernley my entire life, this greatly concerns me, and I know it greatly concerns a lot of the citizens, and I know you guys were elected to be up there to represent us, but I haven't heard any comment on social media, Facebook, or any of that stuff that supports defunding our city manager position. There's the guy has been in there for 2 years and the city has done nothing but improve over the 2 years. So as a private citizen, I need an explanation. The public deserves an explanation of why we want to defund one of the best things that's happened to this city in the last 2 years. The guy's done everything we've asked him to, and we've gotten no explanation from any of the councilmen on how he hasn't done his job. And as the public, we deserve an explanation. So if you're going to sit up there and you're going to try to defund a position in the city of Fernley, the public deserves an explanation of why. If you do it, that's fine. That's your prerogative. That's what you're elected to sit up there and do. But this public deserves an explanation of why. And that is it. So you owe it to the citizens of Fernley of why we're going to take a step back in our governance of Fernley and all the great businesses that we've been bringing in and the way that city's growing and why we're going to take this back a step. I mean, the whole point of this part right here is the budget. And if you guys have one line item, I don't know how many there are in this budget, but if that one line item is going to make this budget fail, then you guys have failed.
Hi, I'm Nancy Cook, and I've been here for 55 years at least. And I taught high school here, and I was a business teacher. I also taught Spanish, but business major. And I've never met Mr. Marchant. I just can't understand why we are at this point in doing a budget in this economy, and we're going to screw the whole town of Fernley and any more fabulous businesses that we have welcomed here, prayed to be here. I love this town. I love the people in it. But I think this city council is going to kill our budget. They're not going to pass the budget. What's your priorities? And this is a personnel situation, and it's personal. This is not economical. This is not for the good of Fernley. This is for I don't know who you talk with or who you gossip with or who you play with, but it's certainly not the people of Fernley. And I'll sign this and get out of your way.
So before I ask for the vote, I want to make one more comment, and that is this, is that when the first city manager that I worked with here for the city of Fernley, I allowed him to resign. The city council here, Councilman Torres, asked me to go out and get a city manager. So I did that with the help of the office people we put in for a city manager for several different places. And we brought some people forward and one gal was really good, but Councilman Torres and the rest of the council voted no, a 3-2 no for this person. Then I was directed by Councilman Torres, to go out and get a private headhunter group, Baker Tilly, to get as a real city manager. So I did that, spent $25,000 of the city's money to do what council asked me to do. Baker Tilly had over 100 people apply for the city manager position. And with the committee, we narrowed it down to 10 people. And then we narrowed it down to 5 people that I was going to interview. It's kind of crazy because Ben Marchant was my first choice out of everybody. When I listened to all the interviews from people, he was my number one guy. I knew he was the guy. So two of the top 5 people dropped out at the last minute because they called me and told me that they watched our city council meeting and they didn't want nothing to do with the council that operated the way this council did. So I brought 3 people from different parts of the United States. Ben came from Rhode Island. There was some other from Colorado and one from, I don't know, Illinois or wherever he was from. My pick was Mr. Marchant. I brought him forward. 3 council people voted no. So I said, okay, so I brought the next guy that I liked forward. 3 councilmen voted no. Went back, called a recess. I don't know how many recesses I called during the process of trying to find a city manager. And finally, we had one city manager that all the office people told this council person that they'd be crazy not to hire this guy. I was told, bring him back and I'll vote for him. Changed the vote. I brought Mr. Marchant back. The vote passed 3-2. And ever since that, I will say that Councilman Torres has not given Ben Marchant a chance. I'm sorry. He has not given him a lick of chance. He has not sat down with me or him and said, this is what you need to set goals in order to be successful at the city of Fernley. I asked him to give me some goals and he would not. That's just, it's really sad that it's come down to who in their right mind, if this goes through, is going to want to come and be a city manager for the city of Fernley after watching this. Who in their right mind, qualified city manager, would want to come for the city of Fernley when they can see what this council can do if they just don't like you? Has nothing to do with job performance. Nothing at all. Councilman Hannon, I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have one final thing before we wrap up and I guess take a vote on this disgraceful motion. Mr. Mortensen, was our city manager, was he noticed that his competency and character were going to be discussed in this meeting?
Aaron Mortson, city attorney, he was noticed that that his job performance and character and competence may be discussed in relation to the budget.
Thank you, sir. So is there any reason why we couldn't tell him tonight, right now, why his position is being eliminated? Legally?
Aaron Mortson, city attorney, because this is related to the budget and I want to avoid anything that may complicate the budget, I would prefer to avoid discussions of job performance and character and competency, but he has been noticed. And so he could be But again, I would prefer that we stay on topic of the budget and of the city manager position itself and not on character.
Thank you, sir. I always appreciate your guidance. You know, we're talking about an individual. We're not talking about a position. We're talking about an individual who moved across the country to come to Fernley to do better things. And I don't see anybody in the audience or my constituents aren't happy. And this is a life. This is a person. This is a person that we're trying to destroy. I know it's a position, and I'll just say the position, but it's an individual who moved across the country to come to Fernley. Of all places, Fernley. I always ask people, how did you come to Fernley? And everyone has a great story on how they got here. A lot of folks were just, passing through and saw it and or had friends that lived here and moved here. But this is a guy who moved across the country. We gave him an opportunity. I think he's fulfilled that opportunity, that goal. He's accomplished that goal. We have a balanced budget 2 years in a row. First time in 11 years last year. 11 years. The first time. With the budget before that was $3 million in the hole, and everybody voted for it. And I was the only one that raised the point of we're $3 million in the hole. Are we nuts? And then we have a balanced budget the next year, and everyone's opposed to it. And I'm having an inkling that it's because they don't like the person who delivered it. I can't prove that, but that's what it looks like to me. It doesn't make sense. If you're holding an apple here, it's an apple. It's not an orange. It's not a banana. They say if it quacks like a duck and looks like a duck, then it's a duck, right? You've done a great job. You're not something that's causing a problem here. We just have to focus. This is an individual. We are making a decision that will ruin an individual's life. He moved across the country to come here to help us. He's done that. And what thanks do we give him? We send him on his way, tail between his legs, telling him, we don't have to tell you, just get out of our town. And that's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting and absurd. Once again, this is about as low as you can go. And I went out in the hallway. Nobody would even come out and tell me what, not even one thing. It wasn't even like, he's got bad breath or his hair looks weird. There was nothing, not one single thing, nothing tangible. Nobody came to talk to me. So how can the public expect us to do the job for them if these folks, some of the folks up here won't talk to us and be honest with us and rationalize with us about things that they see are problems. If you have a problem, it's incumbent upon you to talk to me. I'm part of this body too. You're not special. We're all the same. And what you're doing is you're telling the public, we're going to do what we want. We don't care about anybody else. We're not going to share with you why we're making the decision. We're just going to move forward. And that's about as crooked as they come. That's what they call the good old boys. When I ran in 2018 for mayor, and that was the best experience of my life, I met all the folks in Fernley. It's a learning experience for sure, and it was a good thing. Even through the bad parts, it was a good thing. But everybody said, this good old boy stuff has to stop. There's folks up here that talk about transparency. One of our councilmen up here is saying all the time, it's my job to question everything. Well, sir, I'm questioning you tonight, and you won't tell me. This is despicable. It's disgusting. This is lower than the office, and I'm so disgusted. I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed. I've done my hardest. I'm in City Hall 3-4 times a week. I'm here all the time. I've never missed a meeting. I'm at almost every event that I can go to. I'm on Facebook every single day telling people from A to Z what's happening in Fernley. And you folks sit up here and go, I don't have to tell you. We're just going to make this, we're going to ruin someone's life for no reason. So that's all I have to say. I'm just disgusted.
Aaron Morrison, City Attorney, if there's no more conversation, I am going to ask that the clerk read back the motion as originally presented and who made the motion and the second, so that the record is clear.
Yeah, I see there's nobody on Zoom. Nobody on the phone? Okay, if you would, please read back the motion. Thank you.
All right, motion was made by Councilman Torres. He moved to approve the budget as presented without funding the city manager position. And it was seconded by Councilwoman Zoberski.
Okay. So we have a motion by Councilman Torres, seconded by Councilwoman Zaberski. And we'll take a verbal vote. Ward 1, Councilman Hannan.
Resounding no.
Ward 2, Councilwoman Zaberski.
Yes.
Ward 3, Councilman Lau.
No.
Ward 4, Councilman Torres.
Yes.
Ward 5, Councilman Mendoza.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-2. And is this at what time I say that I'm going to veto this?
Aaron Mortson, City Attorney, at this time, if you wish to veto, you can veto at this time.
And I am going to veto this motion, and I'm going to give a reason. And here's my reason. I don't have to give you a reason. Just like these council people won't give me a reason, I'm not going to give them a reason. So I'm vetoing this. And so at this time, we need to take, so I just asked for a vote on the veto.
Aaron Mortson, City Attorney, that motion will be brought by a member of council. So it's not an automatic thing, but if a member of council wishes to make the motion to overcome the veto, this is the time to do so.
So they can make a motion to uphold the veto?
To override the veto.
Okay. Councilman Hannan.
I make a motion that we adjourn tonight and come back at the next regularly scheduled meeting. I move that we adjourn. I don't know if I need a motion. It's up to you, I believe, sir.
Aaron Mortson, City Attorney, the mayor can choose to adjourn, but if there are any motions to be made on the floor, those should be made before adjournment.
I personally think we should vote on this motion, and then we can vote to reconvene on Friday at 1 o'clock. So we have some time to think about this. And at that time, we can make a motion to go back to last year's budget. What's going to happen with last year's budget is the fact is there will be no new positions. There will be no more planning as far as our north and southwest area plans are. Those will be dropped. There will be a lot of people that will not get raises. And if that's what this council wants, because they want to keep quiet and won't say what the problem is, then so be it. I've got to stand up for the citizens of Fernley, and this is how I'm going to do it. My veto power is my voice. And everybody says up here, Councilman Torres says I use my veto too much. I use my veto. That is my power. That is my vote. That's the same as his vote. The veto is my power. It's my vote. And so I'm vetoing this. So if...
And Aaron Mortson, City Attorney,
Yes.
before you adjourn, I just want to make sure, is there a motion or
I was
does somebody
gonna-
intend to make a motion on the floor to overturn that veto tonight? Because that should be done tonight before adjournment.
or does your motion stand?
I was going to ask if there's a motion on the table, and then I was going to request that the chair adjourn until the next regularly scheduled meeting. I don't see, is there somebody that's going to make a motion, or can we, I think we know the
No.
answer.
Hold on, Councilman Mendoza.
Yes, I do want to make a motion that we overturn the veto. And I also want you guys to realize that, council that has voted and approved this budget has approved the whole budget. It's one line item that wasn't approved. And that is on you, Mayor. And if yes, it is. I'm very appreciative that you got your fans here tonight, but that is on you. And
I am
there
going to
is-
ask the audience to calm down. There's to be no
Yeah,
comments from the
yeah,
audience.
if you
I
would,
will ask
hold
the
up,
leader to
hold
move.
up.
And so the question with Mr. Hannon and Lau is, are we going to throw this away for one budget item? So this is all on all of us. It appears that you just try to pigeonhole us into extending this with making a motion. So why can't we just make a vote and finish this out today? Because I want to do I make a motion to overturn the veto. And I just hope that you guys would consider that. Things will come to light, and this is the mayor's choice to veto this. We have approved the budget except one line item. So that's my motion.
City
Overturn the
Manager
veto.
Marchant.
Ben Marchant, City Manager for the record. I would just like to make a point of clarification that, however the vote goes tonight, if the veto is not overturned, the purpose of scheduling another budget meeting on Friday at 1 p.m. is so that another motion on the budget can be made. The city council can make as many motions on the budget as it takes to get a budget passed. The deadline for submitting a passed and approved budget to the state is June 1st. And so my intent to protect the city's options for approving a budget would be to tomorrow go ahead and publish notices for further budget meetings on next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. If we can't get this done in 1 or 2 meetings, we will take all the time we can in order to find a compromise that the entire city council can approve.
Okay, thank you. And Councilman Mendoza, I appreciate you saying it's all on me, but no, it's not. No, it's not. This is on you trying to pull the rug out from underneath the city of Fernley by defunding the city manager position where nobody's going to be able to run the city. You just defunded that position.
No, we're actually
So
trying to
anyways,
overturn your decision.
Councilman Hannon had a motion to put the vote off until Friday.
I asked the chair to adjourn. If there was no further motions, I don't, was there a motion made?
If there are still motions to be made, those motions need to be made before.
Joe Mendoza.
Hey, Joe.
Go ahead.
Councilman Mendoza, if you would, this is my meeting and I will call on you when it's your turn, okay? You don't have to raise your hand. I'm just saying, when Councilman Hannon is speaking, when he's done, then it's your turn, okay?
Aaron Morrison, City Attorney, I believe I did hear Councilman Mendoza make a motion to overturn the veto.
Yeah.
And so we need to check and see if there's a second, if there's a second to take action and vote on that.
I second it.
Turn your mic on.
I second that.
Okay, so we have a motion
And a second, and that motion should now be voted on.
and a second, and now that has to be voted on. So just let me tell you about what that motion's going to do now. If this motion does pass, you have to have 4 votes. If this motion does pass, then we go back to the budget from last year or the one we're working on this year. Is that correct, Mr. Carson?
Robert Carson, City Treasurer, for the record. No, so then we would, you could continue on with the meeting, continue on discussions. You could adjourn the meeting, I believe. Mr. Mortensen, interrupt me if I'm wrong. And then we can come back and hear as many motions as Mr. Marchant said to keep going on.
No, that's not right because Joe just made a motion to overturn my veto.
Correct. Aaron
If he
Morrison,
wins
City
it,
Attorney,
then-
if it is overturned, then there is a budget that is approved without the city manager position. So there will be a budget and the budget will be complete at that point in time. And so if there are 4 votes, then it is overturned and we have a budget.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilman Mendoza, seconded by Councilman Torres.
Mr. Mayor, I have a comment before we proceed.
Yeah.
Do I have the floor? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilman Mendoza, my title is Councilman Hannon, not Mr. Hannon. I give you the same respect as I give everyone here. I don't appreciate that. We all know where this is going, and so we'll see, I guess, on Friday.
Well, no, we won't. We won't be on Friday, right? There will be, so point of
Aaron Morrison, City Attorney.
clarification. If I'm understanding this right, and you have a 4 to 5 vote, we accept the budget as presented minus the city manager position, and this is over with.
That is correct.
Okay.
And if there is not sufficient to overturn the veto, then we do not have any budget whatsoever. At that point in time, it is up to council as to whether or not they want to set that. We have scheduled that meeting, but council needs to approve any special meetings. So if you want to have that meeting on Friday, council needs to take a vote in order to have that meeting on Friday. They can also vote if they want to have meetings next week as well. We'll schedule them anyways, but that'll give people the opportunity to try to resolve the budget before then.
Okay, so we will now vote. Ward 1, Councilman Hannon.
No.
Ward 2, Councilwoman Zaberski.
Yes.
Ward 3, Councilman Lau.
No.
Ward 4, Councilman Torres.
Yes.
Ward 5, Councilman Mendoza.
Yes.
Your motion fails. So it is up to council now. We can come back on Friday at 1 o'clock And,
Mayor
okay,
Morrison, City Attorney, let's take a brief recess and so I can discuss with the different council members what their options are if they want to take them,
okay.
and we'll go from there.
We're going to take a brief recess. All right, call this meeting back to order. And so I guess our order of business is to decide if we want to reconvene Friday at 1 o'clock. Is that correct, Mr. Martinson?
Aaron Mortson, City Attorney, you have a few options in front of you today. Option number one is to continue to discuss the budget today and try to see if you can come to a resolution and then finish up the rest of the agenda. There are still other items on the agenda to be completed. Option number two would be to move this budget hearing, and this would require a motion by council. We have agendized it for Friday in case, just in case this was a possibility. It's agendized for Friday at 1 o'clock. Council can motion to come back Friday at 1 o'clock and discuss this again. Option number three would be for council to pick another date next week in order to come back and discuss the agenda. And we would need at least 5 days to agendize it. So if you set it for today, we could do it for Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday of next week. Option number four would just be to not come back at all. If you choose not to come back at all, there will be no budget. And Mr. Carson could discuss the consequences of not presenting a budget by Friday to the state.
Mr. Carson, would you please explain to council what happens if we don't have a budget?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Robert Carson, City Treasurer for the record. So if we were to not have an approved budget by June 1st to the state, what would happen would be we would adopt a budget by default. And what gets adopted is the fiscal year 25 budget, which we're currently in. So that rolls over. There's a lot of issues with doing that. As the mayor stated, raises would not be approved. Because any changes to the budget, council would not be able to revisit any of the budget without the express approval of the Department of Taxation. They would pretty much control our budget at that point. So staff would go without raises unless it were contractual. Any purchases or planning projects that were proposed would not go forward. Our property tax rate would not increase. And so we would miss out on revenues because then we would be playing catch up. So we'd miss out on hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue. And again, nothing could be addressed without the express approval of the Department of Tax. So.
Councilman Mendoza, then Councilman Lau.
How many people
Councilman Hannon.
will be laid off? I heard a rumor that there was people going to be laid off if this budget didn't pass.
I can't tell you that at the moment. It would be one of those things that we would have to evaluate if it actually happened. I don't know.
City Manager Ben Marchand.
If the current budget gets carried over to the next year, then my position remains, and I will do everything I can to prevent anyone from getting laid off.
So if his current position stays, everybody's current position should stay, correct?
Again, I can't answer that, Councilman. Everything would have to be evaluated on where we stand.
Did we not
going
budget
forward.
for their positions at all?
Ben Marchand, City Manager for the record. The issue is that whether you budget for it or not, there will be cost increases, inflation, the cost of materials will go up. So what was adequate this year won't be adequate next year. And if we get into a budget pinch where it's not in the budget and this Department of Taxation does not allow the council to make revisions mid-year, then the only option would be to reduce in other areas. There's ways of avoiding that. If there's any natural turnover or attrition, we just wouldn't fill the positions in order to ensure that we have enough funds to cover our expenses. But our expenses could likely go over budget because of inflation. But we would also not be doing all the projects that we discussed funding in the proposed budget. And so the irony and the tragedy of carrying over the current year budget is that the city will have an excess of $4 million budgeted to build a community response and resource center that will have already been built and paid for, and you cannot reallocate those funds to do any of the other things you want. It really pigeonholes and limits the city's options.
And I would also like to add that there are statutory things that have to be taken into effect, that even if we do adopt a budget by default, the PERS rate will still increase because that's a state statute. Our debt service payments for our outstanding bond, those have to be paid. So those are increased costs that cannot be avoided. So it would be something we would have to look at.
Councilman Hannan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mr. Carson. What happens to the water ancillary fee if we don't pass the budget?
The water ancillary fee is in the current year budget, and we collected that, and it would roll over to next year, and we'd collect that amount, which would be less or roughly the same amount as the debt service payment. So that would stay in effect.
So I'm sorry, it's been a long night and my head's got a lot going on up here. So if we pass the budget, the ancillary fee is removed from the property tax. If we don't pass the budget, it stays on the property tax. Is that correct?
You're correct.
So by de facto, everyone in town who was going to get I should say the city, gets a $400 instead of a $400 decrease or average, they're going to have to pay the $400 as we can't agree.
That's correct, sir.
Can I ask the council a question and get some feedback before we move on to the next meeting? I have a suggestion, and I'm offering this in good faith. And Mr. Morrison, please interrupt me if I jump over the line here. Would the council be willing to fund the city manager position for 6 months pending a review process in which the council could give feedback onto the performance, as to the performance of the city manager, and then receive a monthly update from the city mayor as to the items that were specified in that review? For example, if you were to identify issues that you have or items that you want corrected, that you would give Mr. Marchant or the position 6 months to resolve those issues, and then we would revisit the budget in 6 months and either defund the position, hold a competency character hearing, or the mayor would maybe agree to, if those items weren't resolved, to terminate the employee rather than hold the city hostage. Is that something the council is willing to negotiate tonight? If so, I'll make a motion. I just want to know if it's something that we waste our time doing.
Councilman Mendoza.
Yeah, Councilman Mendoza. Yeah, I wouldn't be interested in that type of negotiation. What I want to stress is there was a majority vote on this council by the council that's been elected to be here. And this veto power is the right of the mayor, and we can't argue that. It's pretty obvious. But if the majority is silenced, just like we literally just have been, I've seen this happen before I even was, elected into this dais. And I think it's a shame that we keep going to the veto power instead of letting the majority speak. I have a totally different, and from people that I know, response to, what has been happening within the city. And, I consciously made my decision to vote the way I voted, and I will stand behind it 100%. A lot of you guys came in here because you were invited here, but not one of you ever reached out to us either. So, or at least to myself. So, we've been legal briefed on issues that we shouldn't talk about here, and I'm not going to do that. But to answer your question, I wouldn't entertain that.
You would not, you said?
I will not entertain that.
So, who invited everybody here?
Well, it's pretty obvious somebody invited somebody here. I didn't say who, but people were
Wasn't me.
definitely invited.
I can tell you, I didn't invite nobody here.
Okay.
My family is all that
Mr.
I
Mayor.
invited.
I'm not getting into all that. I'm just saying it's pretty obvious. So,
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, Councilman Hannan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to keep this on topic. It seems like we're turning into personal attacks here. We can all agree to disagree and still be cordial. I'm trying to resolve the issue at hand. It seems we're at a deadlock. So unless somebody else has another idea, I'm offering again an olive branch to resolve this issue. My suggestion was to put the city manager, fund it for 6 months, and then be heavily involved in a process by which there would be a review given immediately within 2 weeks. All of those items that you offer as exchanges that you want to see happen would be implemented through the mayor, and that we would have monthly updates from the mayor. And then at the end of 6 months, we would either defund the position, hold a competency character hearing, or the mayor would agree to terminate the position if those things that were asked were not met. And I think that's fair. I'm trying to be fair. And what I'm getting is this whole, we got the majority and we're not going to budge, and you're holding everyone hostage. If we don't pass the budget, everyone's stuck with the $400 ancillary fee. That's a huge amount of money. Inflation is through the roof. People can't pay their bills. The $400 is a huge thing. It's $33.30 a month per household. That's some people a tank of gas, 3/4 of a tank of gas, maybe. We have an option here to create a budget to safeguard the folks here and to do the right thing and hold somebody still accountable. You've got 6 months you can tell or write down whatever the problem is. And if it's not addressed, Mr. Mayor would, I think he's a pretty reasonable person. He would be willing to terminate that position if those items weren't met and they were egregious. Does anybody else have a solution or a suggestion? Because I think we're deadlocked and I don't see us passing a budget if we're going to hold the whole city hostage because 3 folks don't want to budge and one guy's given 5 different ways we can do this. Does anybody else have a suggestion?
Well, I just want to make a comment and then I'll send it over to Councilman Mendoza. Is that I would be willing to do that. Alls I have been asking is, and Councilman Torres said that he told me the goals that he wanted to see Ben Marchant achieve, but I've got nothing. I'm sorry, Councilman Torres. If you gave them to me and I don't know what they are, I'm sorry. That is my fault. But if somebody could give me, that's all I've been asking for, somebody to give me goal settings as to what they want to see the city manager, what he needs to do to succeed in the city of Fernley. I'm willing to do that, but without that, it's hard for me to set goals for the city managing position if I don't know what council's goals are. So Councilman Mendoza and then Councilman Torres. And then, okay, that's it.
I just want to make a motion to continue item 6.1 to a special meeting on May 28th, 2025.
I'll second that.
Councilman Torres, did you have a comment or just a second? Okay. So we have a motion. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Lau.
Yeah, I just wanted to agree with Councilman Hannon that it might be a wise decision to approve this budget, get it going in 6 months, have a review, and get more communications amongst us up here, and get more communication with the mayor and see what the issues are and see if we can address them in 6 months. And if we have issues, bring them forward. And I agree with what Councilman Hannon said.
Councilman Hannon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm talking a lot tonight. I want to just confirm, did he say the 28th or the 23rd? The next scheduled meeting is the 23rd, which is this Friday at 1 o'clock.
My motion was for Wednesday, the 28th.
So my concern is that we're running out of time. So we're like 3 days from the deadline.
Do we have time to set a meeting for the 28th?
Aaron Morton, City Attorney, we do. We can get that out in the morning.
So my concern, Mr. Mayor, is if we don't make a decision on the 28th, that we have to notice it again and we're past the deadline. And so that's why I think we should reconvene. I would ask the councilman to restate your motion with Friday, which is the scheduled meeting at 1 o'clock. And then if we don't, we're not able to make a decision at that point, then we can already, and I believe they're already going to notice for 2 or 3 or 4 days the following week, just 3 days, just in case.
Aaron Morton, City Attorney, we haven't yet noticed for any times next week, but certainly we could do that at this time. If council wishes it, we can agendize the 28th, 29th, and 30th if council wants that.
Because we have a deadline. So if we deadlock on the 28th, then it takes 5 more days. We're past the deadline. We don't have a budget and then we're done.
Well,
Yeah,
what we do right now have on the table is we have a motion and a second. And unless the person that made that motion wants to rescind that motion and restate a different motion, we can do that.
Otherwise,
That's
we
up
need to vote on the motion
That's
as
up
is.
to Councilman Mendoza.
yeah, I will not remake that motion, unfortunately.
Okay. So we have a motion by Councilman Mendoza, seconded by Councilman Torres. And so please vote. And for what was the date now? The 28th?
The 28th, and that would be next Wednesday. And is there a time? I apologize. Was there a time included in the motion?
I didn't include a time in that, but I would assume 1700.
5 p.m.
Normal,
5
normal
o'clock.
meeting times, so that we could get our community back here after work.
Yeah, you bet. All right. Ward 1, Councilman Hannan.
I vote no.
Ward 2, Councilwoman Zaberski.
I vote yes.
Ward 3, Councilman Lau.
I'll vote yes.
Ward 4, Councilman Torres.
I vote yes.
Ward 5, Councilman Mendoza.
Yes.
Okay, so we will reconvene and move this to the Wednesday, the 28th.
And Aaron Mortson, city attorney, it was just brought to my attention that Monday's a holiday. That may affect our timelines. I thought that was a work day. If there's an issue, is there any issue with council with me also scheduling for the 29th, just in case there is an agenda problem with the 28th? Only because I just realized just now there's a holiday on Monday and I didn't incorporate that into the timeline.
Yeah, that's right. It's Memorial Day. So we would have to, well, we've already voted and it
Yeah.
passed 3-2.
And I'll
So would
agendize
we have to
that.
make a new motion?
Can we do another motion to also agendize for the 29th, just in case I have a problem on Wednesday? I didn't realize it was a holiday and I apologize.
Wednesday's a holiday?
Monday's a holiday. And so for the 5-day timeline, Monday may not count. I'm going to go ahead and go research that. And that may create a problem with agendizing in time to get to Wednesday, just because of that Monday holiday.
So then it has to be Thursday.
So can we also do Thursday? We can have both of them. And then if Wednesday doesn't work, we'll do Thursday. If that
So
works for everyone.
I'll make the motion to agendize Thursday, the 29th, 1700 hours for item 6.1 to be heard again, if it is required by law. If not, we will stick to the Wednesday.
Second that.
We have a motion by Councilman Mendoza, seconded by Councilman Torres to also include Thursday at 5 o'clock, the 29th.
Thank you. And,
so-
and I'll notify council, Aaron Mortson, city attorney, I'll notify council as soon as I look at the law and see whether or not we're still good.
Okay. Ward 1, Councilman Hannan.
I vote no.
Ward 2, Councilwoman Zaberski.
I vote yes.
Ward 3, Councilman Lau.
Yes.
Ward 4, Councilman Torres.
Yes.
Ward 5, Councilman Mendoza.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1. Okay, so we will now move on to line 7, public forum. This portion of the meeting devoted to the public. If you wish to comment, you can do so in person at the meeting or raise your hand featured in Zoom, *9 if you're participating via phone. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please avoid repetition. Is there any public input at this time? Is there anybody on Zoom? Nobody on the phone? All right. Our next meeting will be either May 28th or 29th, as soon as we get a legal opinion on that. If not, it will be either Wednesday or Thursday. This meeting is adjourned.